It has been a week of absolutely perfect weather in Southern California. The sky is blue, the ocean is blue, the sun is hot, but why go outside for beauty when we have this gorgeous OGN Super Arena and fantastic Clash Royale gameplay to watch? Hi, I'm Rich Slayton, joining me as always, my buddy Andrew Guy for CRL West. It's the end of this week, and we've had some great, fantastic matches so far. 5 more coming your way today. And Andrew, before we get into the action, let's go through our format.
Yeah, happy Super Sunday. We had a big sweep Saturday yesterday, and now today we will be kicking off with our 2v2 set. As we've said many times before, this is all about the teamwork. Following that is the best of 5 King of the Hill set. Lastly, if necessary, we will get to the 1v1 tiebreaker set.
And as we reach the midway point of the season, every single match becomes more and more important because the top 6 teams make it into our gauntlet-style playoff, and the top 3 head across the ocean to Xi'an, China for the World Cyber Games, where they face off against the CRL Asia and CRL China top 3s as well.
Yeah, and a big part of that is our standings and who will be going there. First off, we got Pain Gaming, 4-1. You talked about today's weather being perfect. Well, Pain Gaming has been essentially perfect here at CRL. Following them is Complexity, working their way all the way up from the back into second place. Fnatic and Immortals and Cream Esports are all tied at 3-2. As we get into the middle of the standings, we've got Tribe Gaming at 3-3, Liquid 2-2, Team Queso 2-3, SK Gaming at 1-2. And when those two teams face off today, they are in must-win situations. To go to the bottom here, we got Dignitas and Misfits Gaming going up today. I feels like it's also a must-win for them. And lastly is Energy in 10th place at 1-2.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 matches today that will determine some of the fate for a lot of these squads. Opening up, Team Liquid facing off against the #1 Pain Gaming.
Following that will be Cream Esports going up against Complexity, really trying to find that second place spot. Energy and Fnatic will be following that. Then we have Misfits Gaming and Dignitas trying to battle from the bottom to close out our day. 2 big all-star teams, Team Queso going up against SK Gaming.
That's going to be a great way to round out our 5-match show today. But, of course, we start things off with a battle between the Superstar squad of Team Liquid, riding that horse to victory in their last match, coming up against Pain Gaming, who is playing, looking like they are possibly unbeatable.
Yeah, you saw right there in the standings, Pain Gaming at 4-1, going up against Team Liquid in 7th place, 2-2. Not quite the start that they were expecting, but they have shown a lot of talent, and it seems like this is the moment for them to kind of turn it around and take one of those top 6 spots.
So coming out, you see both squads led by their coaches, Eric and Lampiao, both excited for this big-time matchup. Liquid heading to your left, and the boys in blue, you know them, you've seen them a bunch. Surgical Goblin, Diego B, Buffmac, and Canario. And the way that Surge and Canario played in 2v2 was great. Diego B and Buffmac, also a fantastic pair. Which one will we see today?
Yeah, that's a great question. Don't forget that their coach, Eric, will be the one making that decision on the far left. But going to the other side of the arena, we have Pain Gaming coming out with Henan Kava, Carnage, Wen, and Surgical TS. They have only lost 1 match. It was against their rivals on their opening day. However, since then, they've beaten Queso, they've beaten Misfits, they've beaten Tribe, and they've beaten Immortals. Who can stop Pain Gaming? No one knows yet. That's the answer.
One day, I dreamed that Pain got to the World Finals against Team Liquid, and we played every game in a tie, and on the last match, it was me against Surgical Goblin. I beat him, and I had like a sign saying, "Who is the best Surgical now?"
So it is Surge and Canario for Team Liquid, and a bit of a correction there. Team Liquid lost their last match out, and it was Diego and Buffmac falling to B-Rad and J-Monty of Tribe.
Speaking of B-Rad and J-Monty of Tribe, they are without a doubt the strongest 2v2 duo we've seen so far at CRL this season at 5-0. but very, very quickly behind them is Hen and Kava and Surge TS at 4-1 in sets.
I know this match specifically means a lot to this Brazilian squad, especially Surge TS, who has commented a couple of times about how he wants this to be the match about who's the better Surgical.
And what a great way to start our day. Surge and Surgical both on the floor. And that Lumberjack does get NATO'd back. Very, very good NATO there from Pain Gaming.
Lava Miner for Team Liquid. Pain Gaming coming out with Graveyard.
Yeah, Pain Gaming opting to eat a couple of those Baby Dragon Belches to get down this Graveyard Freeze combo. Not a great amount of success, but some damage done.
So slowing that lava push way, way down, and now cleaning up with Poison. Well-timed.
Yeah, very well-timed. They put it down a second early to make sure that the first tick, was already going as soon as those pups popped.
So halfway through our opening game, and at the moment, Team Liquid ahead, but not by a significant margin.
Yep. We got Liquid running the double lava, which we've seen some success with, and then the other side of it could be double Graveyard, might just be Graveyard Freeze.
Giant Skeleton. The question is, will they get an Ice Wiz behind this, try to slow down this lava, and maybe pull it all together when that Skelly goes down?
You see that high Dark Goblin in turn to match the high Inferno Tower. However, that Dark Goblin played just one tile too high. Would be able to pick off that Inferno Tower without taking any damage.
Not a lot of value out of that Giant Skeleton. You see here Team Liquid taking advantage.
Yeah, Miner in on the back. No splash damage. There's the NATO to get some.
Smart heads-up play there by Team Liquid, and now double Graveyard. This is a huge commitment. This has to pay off, and so far, that is quite a lot. Skeletons all over the tower, down under 1,000 HP, it looks like.
Yeah, and you
nope,
see,
stops just short.
You see there Team Liquid trying to play their defense with just a Poison, and because it was a double Graveyard, those Skeletons are obviously spawning twice as fast. Lumberjack almost on the tower. Those Skeletons are spawning twice as fast, so a Poison does need a bit of assistance. And this is what I'm talking about. You have the Dark Goblin actually out of range of the Inferno, but the Princess is there to clean up.
So King Tower activation for Pain Gaming, but down to 805, so in trouble. This is a big Graveyard push, choosing to just go single Graveyard this time rather than double up.
And that Giant Skeleton is dangerously close to the tower. You could tell Team Liquid was feeling the pressure. Dark Goblin on the tower. That is huge. That is going to do it.
That is it.
Wow.
Game one goes to Surge TS and Hen and Kava.
The
beautiful
moment
play
that a Dark Goblin gets tanked for by any unit, it becomes a problem. And you saw Team Liquid there dropping the Mega Minion right on top of it, but it's too little too late. That Dark Goblin's damage was already done.
And you had to imagine that Canario and Surge were getting a little nervous with that Giant Skeleton getting so close to their tower, and a moment like that, just fingers start flying, and it paid off in spades for the boys in Pain.
Yeah, Pain Gaming really capitalizing on a lack of defense or a small misstep by Liquid, and that's the danger of the Dark Goblin. The DPS is just so high. If you ever miss one or it's getting tanked for, it can be devastating. As you saw there, it felt like Pain kind of stole that from Liquid.
Giant Skeleton gets down just in time to pick up the Dark Prince, and now we see an early Graveyard to open things up. And unfortunately for them, Poison was in cycle for Team Liquid.
Yep, now we see on the bottom right, Canario trying to figure out what to do to reset, wasting almost, or leaking almost a half elixir.
So Giant Skeleton backed up by a Musketeer. And it was the Giant Skeleton not getting much value in the first place that nearly put that last game in difficulty for Surge and Renan and Henan.
Yeah, that Giant Skelly Bomb, we've seen it make, we've seen it steal games in the final seconds before, and Team Liquid does not want to fall victim of that.
So Liquid now going Graveyard as well.
And a great aggressive NATO. Look at that. Not quite what they wanted out of it, but the Prince did get on tower.
So down to 1698, Team Liquid taking the lead as we reach the midway point of regulation time. Giant Goblin crossing the bridge, backed up by the Dark Prince, and this time another poison meeting that graveyard.
Yep. And that's what Surge is going to do every single time. He needs to hold that poison to play defense. Now recognizing that there are, I mean, he might not know there's 2 graveyards yet, but he has to hold it for 1 every single time.
I think at this stage in the season, most teams are assuming if they see 1 graveyard, they're up against 2. And we've seen very little single graveyard. We've seen it paired maybe with a Royal Giant once, if I remember correctly, but it seems like the double graveyard is the way the graveyard teams are going thus far.
Baby Dragon going to take out that Musketeer. An unsupported graveyard here for Pain.
It's a little bit of damage, a couple chip shots here and there, but it's a lot to spend for very little. Giant Skeleton does a good job meeting everything at the bridge and supporting that Inferno Tower damage.
Defensive poison from Pain, but a couple skeleton hits in there. Baby Dragon will go down.
And that's fortuitous timing, keeping that Inferno Tower on the board even longer.
Yeah, great value from this Inferno Tower so far.
Solid NATO pulling everything together, and at the moment, though behind on Elixir, Henenkava and Surge look like they're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, this is kind of the moment for them to maybe take the lead. However, Liquid responding with a graveyard of their own. The freeze does come down to catch those guards. A log to clean up the frozen. And, well played. Timing the guards and the log all separated. This is what you have to do when playing against freeze. You have to vary when you drop your units. You also have to spread them out.
Well, and both teams having to save their poisons for defense, you know, both being up against that double graveyard, they're not really able to stagger that spell attack as they bring the graveyard attack across.
Yeah, and obviously a graveyard poison would do wonders against guards and most of the units they've been playing to clean up. An interesting NATO, thinking maybe they were going to get some splash damage from their support troops from Pain.
So here we are, a minute into sudden death overtime. Pain Gaming with a little bit of a lead. Gotta wonder if this is the time where maybe they go poison offensively.
And that log misses the guards and the Inferno Towers, so not the best log from Team Liquid.
So now at 466 with that log hit, they are in double poison range. So you gotta wonder now if they switch up their defensive tactics and just try to cycle poison out.
And they go for the double graveyard, forcing the poison out of Pain Gaming. I like that. Again, best defense can be offense sometimes. And that NATO gets a lot of splash damage in. That will be it. Pain Gaming is about to sweep Liquid in this 2v2 set.
Freeze comes down, need one more log or the giant snowball to close this thing out, and there you go! Surge, TS, and Henenkava remain stalwart.
Yeah, 5-1 now in their 2v2 sets, making Surge and Canario look like novices at the stand, and that is not easy to do.
So here we go. It's Pain Gaming entering into King of the Hill with the 1-set lead. So coming out first for Team Liquid, it's going to be Diego B, followed by Buff Mac and Canario, and across from him, Henenkava. With no surprises here, Carnage and Wen in the wings.
Yeah, Wen doing such a great job in that anchor position. Let's see what Diego B can do. We haven't seen him a lot in head-to-head play so far this year. He's 0-1 in King of the Hill.
Easy pickup on the miner. So far, Henenkava, we've seen him 3 times, and he's played 3 Muskie Ram, Royal Hogs, and more Royal Hogs.
And with that, he is 1-2 in King of the Hill. Poison comes down for Diego. Take care of that Musketeer. Open up a lane for him.
So Kava looking very much like he might be doing Miner Muskaloon. Diego B's only deck so far had been Miner Rascal's Loon, which has fallen out of favor so far this season.
Yeah, that's true. It was had a big showing there in Grand Challenges, maybe like a month before the season started.
There was a solid 2 months where Miner Rascal's Loon was pretty big. It was the balloon deck being played along with sort of that Lumberloon.
Right. Really happy those are gone.
So here we see in this Graveyard double Prince deck,
Yeah.
which we've seen a couple times, and right now it's only at a 50-50 win rate.
Yep. Not a true sample to pull from when it's only been played twice.
Graveyard overall sitting at about 40%.
Yeah, that's kind of nice to see that. A lot of the pros' favorite win condition, especially, of course, the God RF.
So first 2 minutes down, and Diego B's taking the first big chunk.
Yep.
Although Henenkava's done about 500 on the right-hand side as well.
There's the balloon. Going to be met by the Mega Minion up high. Not going to get anywhere.
And with the Miner trying to get on the Musketeer, but will get a swing out of the Miner, but didn't quite do what he wanted to make enough room for that balloon.
And this is going to be a very nice trade here for Diego, but does he have a response for this balloon on the left? He needs that Mega Minion to come back around and cycle. There's the 3 Elixir. There it is, but it will get a drop.
Yeah, this is just brutal. The big thing here is that Diego B's cycle is just not quite going to keep up with that balloon. So even with, you see the big damage being done on the right-hand side, if Kava can keep this up and keep that Graveyard from really getting in rhythm, he can force Diego to just play a lot of defense.
Yeah, well, it's tough for Diego here. He wants to be able to support his pushes with at least one ranged unit, but he's kind of in need of both with these balloon pushes coming in.
Miner to the back, Giant Snowball does not get the Musketeer, and another one saves that tower from a drop. Still down to 13, now under, just at 13-12, but still pretty even with the damage of the poison done by Diego B on the left-hand side. And now, here we go, Graveyard push. Prince coming across, picked up by the Skeletons.
Poison comes in, catches the Ice Golem as well as the Musketeer. Miner on tower in the bottom right. Diego B has taken a substantial lead.
Just not many options for the Graveyard here from Henenkava. You can put the Ice Golem down and pick up some of that and then follow up with Barb Barrel. But the fact that Diego B's able to get that poison down offensively means those Skeletons are pretty much a moot point when playing defense.
Yeah, I mean, luckily those cards are so cheap that he can use all 6 Elixir with the Snowball, Ice Golem, and Barb Barrel, but they do need to be in cycle.
And both Musketeers in the poison. Prince will finish one more off. And now here we go. Another Graveyard going to come down in front of this Musketeer. This is all trouble for Henenkava.
Yeah, this is going to be all she wrote for him, I believe. Snowball comes in, allows... No, Skeleton does not attach, but as you see... Oh, yep, there they go. Wow. That happened very, very quickly, as is tradition for the Graveyard. Up next is Carnage for Pain Gaming. Diego B finally getting that ever-important first win under his belt. Now, obviously he has a lot of experience. Obviously this is second season of CRL. However, getting that first win in a new season builds the momentum for the rest of the regular season. I mean, who knows if they'll be making it to playoffs or not, but getting that first one is so important.
Yeah, you know, especially for someone who has been so focused on 2v2 for so long, both last season and this season. And okay, we hear a little bit of ooze from the players who are hanging out to watch the matchup right now, because Carnage potentially showing something everyone wants to see.
That's right. Everyone wants to see Carnage play Mortar.
How dare you, sir? I am personally very, very excited. So far, for those of you keeping track at home, Expo is 0 for 4 in CRL West. Everyone thought Expo would be the entire matchup, and oh boy, Prince, Lightning, a lot of rough stuff here for Expo players.
And that's the thing, is when you see Carnage, when you see when you see Lapakati, you know what they're best at in the world. Air Surfer, you could throw in that conversation as well. So if you have a deck that even remotely counters those archetypes, it is important that you play that. It doesn't have to be a direct counter. Now, obviously, we saw the extreme of that when Wen went against Lapakati and played a deck we'd never seen before to just basically make Lapakati feel like he didn't even know how to play Mortar. Now, this is an instance where you see Lightning, like you said, you see Prince, you see Dark Prince, and this will be an uphill battle for Carnage.
I mean, I'm being seriously triggered right now seeing double Prince and Lightning.
And there's a
Goblin Giant,
yep.
Double Prince, Lightning, Carnage. Oh no.
Yeah, that is quite the matchup. Barb Barrel on top of it. Let's add insult to injury. Lightning, both Princes, Giant, Barb Barrel. Good luck, Carnage. Diego B just might have your number.
Yeah, I mean, after the insane level of snipe that we saw Pain Gaming pull off against La Picati, you had to wonder if they might fall into the same situation, and here it is, Carnage. Again, I'm just going to say this out loud one more time. He's playing Icebow against Goblin Giant, Double Prince Lightning, and you see the look on his face, just kind of like, okay, I get it, please, stop.
Yeah, maybe wishing he could get his deck selection back, but again, one of the best in the world, if not the best with this deck. All you need is one big connection. You know that as an Expo player, but with Lightning on the board,
that's the problem. Is there's between the Dark Prince, the Prince, and the Goblin Giant, there's pretty much always going to be something available to pick up the Expo, and then the Lightning behind it.
Yeah, and then right there you saw Diego B very frustrated. I was wondering the same thing, thinking that that was great Lightning value for Tower, Mega Minion, and Expo. Took him a second to get it down. You saw that he kind of threw his hand up for a second, but still okay, still in the lead.
Yeah, this is just my absolute nightmare.
Yeah, so much Elixir being spent on defense. Now 5 Elixir behind with a Mega Minion on the board that is completely ignorable. Lightning back around in cycle. Defensive Expo low on HP. All things going Diego B's way.
And Carnage is playing the Fireball, not Rocket version.
And here we see an Expo coming down. Dark Prince going to be dropped right in front to meet it, supported with a Mega Minion. Splash damage with the Barb Barrel. I can feel you getting hot next to me.
And Diego with a little bit of BM here on top of all that. He knows he's ahead on Elixir, he's ahead on damage. There really is no reason that Carnage should get a lock on tower here.
Yeah, no, there's absolutely no way. And, again, King of the Hill, lowest tower situation, Lightning in hand. There is basically 0 chance that Carnage walks away with this one.
Up at 10 again. God, this hurts.
You see Diego's leaked almost 5 Elixir against an Expo deck that is usually something you would never want to do. However, it's like he almost has too many options. He's like, well, I could Lightning it, or maybe I'll do this. Let me leak a couple Elixir and think about it. Oh, by the way, you're still never going to connect.
Final 90 seconds, and there you go. Goblin Giant gets in behind the Prince. Nado to pull it back.
And now we've got a big push coming in for Diego.
And just the last shred of hope really fading here for Carnage.
And Diego knowing he doesn't even really need to use the Lightning anymore because he has a damage lead, and Carnage doesn't seem to be able to get on tower at all. I mean,
he does have to be careful here. There we go, getting the Lightning. I was about to say, because Carnage could sneak in a nasty bit of spell cycle with that Log and Fireball and suddenly surprise Diego B if he's not careful.
45 seconds left. Carnage trying to maybe put together one last assault. But there goes his Fireball.
Yeah, that's probably it. I mean, he needed the Fireball there on defense, but gonna have to start cycling if he wants to have any shot. Puts the Expo down. Prince comes down in response.
Lightning range.
Yep, that's just brutal.
Yeah, that's a tough one to watch. And for all you Expo players out there, I'm sure that one hurt.
Yeah, I mean, even if you do get down to their Fireball Log, the Lightning's still there. Good game. Diego B.
Oh, and the Mega Minion does get a swing in to really put the nail in the coffin. Diego B now 2-1 in King of the Hill, taking down Carnage and Henan Kava. We're back to this again, Rich, when in the anchor spot trying to keep Pain Gaming alive.
So last time Pain was out, they pulled off one of the nastiest snipes we've seen, and then this time, an absolute brutal snipe, and you saw the look on Carnage's face partway through. And now you have Wen, who's also known as an Icebow player. Do you just, here's the question, if you're Wen, no, he's not doing it. I was gonna say, do you just go back and say, like, I'm gonna do Icebow again, there's no way you're on that deck back-to-back?
Yeah, I mean, the probability of Diego running that deck again is very, very low. However, the one thing I did like about that deck is it wasn't a deck that only succeeded if Carnage was running Expo. Obviously, it is at its best when playing against Expo, but it's still not a bad Giant Double Prince deck.
So looking a little spammy here for Diego. And decent bit of value there. And we're going Ram Rider opposite lane.
Oh, the barbs there to meet it, and Wen is very, very pleased with himself.
Feels like Wen always has his emote pre-queued up.
Yeah, I was like, he's hovering an emote.
So Wen slowing down, Diego B slowing down, taking stock of one another. Most likely RG here for Wen, and we've seen the RG Barbarians out a fair bit actually so far this season.
I really like that Wen BMs his opponents when he makes plays like that, because it's got to be frustrating. It's got to be very frustrating, thinking you have an edge on him, thinking you might be able to catch Wen looking. And he's like, nope, I got a plan, and oh, by the way, I'm going to rub it in your face.
This specific Royal Giant deck is currently 3-0 in CRL West.
Got Diego there throwing up the angry face. Not how he wanted that interaction to go, having to drop the Ice Golem, wasting 2 Elixir, and he's still got 1,000 HP down on that left-hand tower.
And the Fire Spirits pick up the dash from the Bandit. So far, everything going Wen's way.
That's what's terrifying about Wen, is mechanically he plays almost perfect. And then if he gets you on a snipe, there's no way to beat him. And he has confidence through the roof.
Barbarians, and Giant Snowball comes in to help. Does get through for the charge.
Very nice snowball from Diego there. Wen gives him a little bit of credit. But nothing here to catch the Royal Giant. Oh, and that is a brutal lightning. Diego knows this is over.
Wow. Yeah, so now Wen, sit back, play some defense, throw up a furnace, call your mother, read the newspaper, and then throw lightning down at the end.
Yeah, I mean, that is a phone in his hand. He could surf the web, he could do whatever he'd like, because at this moment, Diego B has nothing to get through to this. He's got the Barbarians to meet, he's got the Furnace to meet, he's got the Snowball, and of course, Wen has the Lightning right now to take the tower out. Diego does go for a block, you see, not successful. Wen doing it again.
Very nice work from Wen. Of course, Diego B more than did his job, went and got 2 outs, and now you still have Buffmac and Canario in the wings to come out. Buffmac coming up next. So the Englishman coming to the stage for Team Liquid. Buffmac, last season's breakout star, who also has been fantastic in the offseason as well, with some great ladder finishes. #1 back in October of last year, and then of course his performances at Moreno and BGW in the offseason.
Yeah, and last year he was 5-2 in King of the Hill, really finding himself at the end of the season, coming into his own, if you will. Immediately we see an Ice Wizard and Baby Dragon out of Wen. We've seen this coupled with Royal Giant, we've seen this coupled with Graveyard. And in every single 2v2 game there has ever been this season.
Yeah, looks like Wen just copied a 2v2 deck and is coming out here.
Royal Giant down quick and early, aggressive. We see the Tombstone come down.
RG Furnace Musk.
So Wen rocking that incredibly powerful defensive trifecta. Actually 4 cards if you throw in the Tornado as well, which I'm sure will be there.
So wondering maybe if Barbarians are going to be in Buffmac's deck as well today. And looking very splashy-arty so far for Wen.
Yeah. Charge does get on the Furnace, not what Buffmac wanted. He in turn tries to take out his opponent's building.
So you see Wen, you can see both at the top of the screen and at the bottom with the hand cam, Wen really physically active when he's on stage, moving around a lot, readjusting position.
He nods, okay, yep, you do have the barbs, just wanted to check.
And a surprising amount of damage there, even with the barbs coming down.
Yeah, and also the barbs taking a good amount of damage from the skeletons as well, not demanding as big of a response, probably just gonna get 1 barb barrel to clean up the whole pack.
And that's quite a lot from the Lightning. Of course, the Dark Prince shield does absorb one of those shots, but damage done down to 647.
Yeah, that was a big Royal Giant push from Buffmac. Freeze does
there
come
we
in.
go.
A great freeze.
Wow.
That is going to be tower down.
Woo, boy, you see that?
Oh.
Wen with a knockdown blow, and now Buffmac has to fight from behind.
You love the late freeze, the latest of freezes to catch the Musketeer and the Princess Tower. The high tombstone desperation plays right now. It still should
Freeze. Freeze. I was about to say, is the freeze back in cycle yet?
Look at that.
Oh, boy.
340. He can get a lightning snowball down, but that leaves him crippled for defense elixir-wise.
So here we go. Lightning comes in, left-hand lane. But now Buffmac behind by pretty much all the elixir.
So this is a moment for Wen to really put on the pressure. There's the graveyard. You see the furnace being played low. Hopefully those fire spirits will assist. There's the freeze.
Bar Barrel coming in. Skeleton's not gonna allow Barbarian on tower. Oh no, sorry, wrong Barbarian.
And you love it. Now Buffmac throwing a little shade towards Wen.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great defense, and now Buffmac right back in the mix.
And you got to recognize how well Buffmac spread out his troops. There was no way to freeze the King, the Princess, and the Musketeer. And with any one of those available to defend, your graveyard becomes infinitely less powerful.
Dark Prince does not get to the furnace, so that's a big win for Buffmac in that exchange.
Yeah, and right now, it's about as even as it can get from a player that looked like he was so far behind, having to spend 8 elixir naked on taking down a spell at the end of regulation. Buffmac has climbed back into this with a vengeance.
He's just so good. He's really good. He didn't panic. That's the big thing.
Yes.
He has a big book. With giant words that say "Don't panic" on the front.
I thought you were calling him Big Book.
No, that'd be hilarious.
We got double furnace down with the high Musketeer, and Buffmac knows. Look, good luck breaking through.
Yeah, so now with this final 90 seconds, it's a big question of who can do more damage just to get ahead. It's probably not going to go to a tower down unless someone makes a big mistake. And Buffmac knows he has way more direct damage with that lightning and snowball, and out come the BMs. Yeah, man. You BM a little bit early and it might come back to bite you. Buffmac looking to put the screws to Wen.
Yeah, and we may or may not know. We will not see a Royal Giant in the pocket now. Buffmac doing Wen doing a great job keeping his units at bay crossing the river. So he gets another Royal Giant at the river.
Freeze comes in. Tombstone to pick up the Royal Giant. Dark Prince trying to clean this up. Royal Giant, though, might get one shot. Yes, it does.
Big hit in. And now with Lightning in hand, Charlie has a big advantage. Those of you at home, Charlie's Buffmac.
Buffmac, yeah. And Bar Barrel does not come into the Musketeer. Wen knows that was it.
And
wow.
Buffmac throwing some shade once again. We are going to set number 3. Liquid stays alive on the shoulders of 2 players who we have seen very little head-to-head play from this season.
Yeah, very impressive performances, both from Diego B and from Buffmac. And Wen now knows, yeah, oh, you're just going to drop every single Crying Skeleton ever?
And,
wow, dude, Buffmac is so fired up right now. He did not like that early BM.
Oh, 100%. You also know every other team that has played Pain right now all cheering for Buffmac because they've all got that Wen BM. They've all been a victim to it, and now Buffmac in a position to throw it right back in his face.
Will it be Diego B or will it be Buffmac? With the fire under Buffmac's heart right now, I feel like it has to be him.
And, I really couldn't agree with you more, Rich. I believe you go with Buffmac. He was fired up. You saw the BMs flying there. And even though Diego had a great showing in King of the Hill, he still got cut. He still lost a game, whereas Buffmac is basically perfect at this moment.
And Buffmac is typically so quiet, but he was not quiet in that moment. And, again, like when you have the rage, go ahead and get behind it and put the man in.
Yeah, I mean, again, momentum is so big in this game. Let's find out who's coming out for Liquid and, of course, Pain Gaming. Looks like it is going to be a rematch, I think.
There we go.
There we
Buffmac and Wen. I cannot wait to see these guys go toe-to-toe.
I love watching when these guys are fired up. Here we go. Final set, 1v1. Buffmac, Wen, Pain Gaming, Liquid. Here we go.
The Englishman and the Brazilian up on the towers, ready to fire at each other. And man, these guys, I expect that if one of them takes an early lead, the BMs will come out hard. And Buffmac playing a little nice, good luck.
And then you get the thanks.
It
I love the
feels
good
snarky,
luck
though.
and the thanks. Oh, it is.
It totally feels
It totally is. It's nice to say good luck back, but when someone wishes you good luck, you go, oh, thanks, and walk away.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
it. Love it.
All right, Buffmac going giant.
Yeah, could be double Prince there. Usually see an E-Wiz, both
And
Princes.
the Prince. So Buffmac's deck pool beginning to expand. Now 5 different decks we've seen him play.
And of course, Giant Double Prince is an old faithful. It's a deck that's been very strong for a very, very long time. We saw it fall out of favor a little bit before the Dark Prince got its big buff.
And so all of this could be Splash Yard again, and this could also be RG.
Yep.
That's how deep we get into this combination. First minute down, a little bit done to Buffmac's side, a little bit done to Wen's side, not much done to either. And so looking like it's going to be Giant Double Prince triple spell for Buffmac.
And there is the Giant down for Buffmac in the back, switching lanes now.
That triple spell is so obnoxious. And it is RG for Wen. And he goes hard, knowing all that elixirs in the left-hand lane.
And you never love dropping an E-Wiz right on top of the opponent's incoming troops. The Baby Dragon just barely taking the edge and now getting on tower. That is not how Buffmac thought that was going to go. However, he also has a Prince on Wen's tower.
And, you know, it was interesting because Wen got back to a second tombstone. You thought maybe that would solve the problem. Still comes out the better of that exchange, but, you know, I bet he thought he might have saved a few more HP with that second tombstone.
Yeah, 900 HP remains on Wen's left-hand tower. Obviously, Buffmac is a tower down.
Waiting a long time for that NATO. There we go. Didn't want to give that Dark Prince too much of an advantage of pulling it forward from the back.
Exactly. You never want to... Obviously, you want to keep the Giant away from the tower, but you don't want to help the Dark Prince get to your tower.
30 seconds left. Can Wen defend?
This is going to be a really, really tough ask for Buffmac to break through again. And Wen knows it, and the BMs start flying.
Oh, man.
You love it, you hate it.
Prince left-hand lane. Not going to be enough time, though.
And Buffmac throwing up the white flag of responding with the crying skeleton faces, knowing that Wen got the best of him in that big exchange.
And Wen just takes his headphones all the way off. He's like, I did it, I'm done, let me stay in the zone. We have not seen Wen this focused and this pumped up yet.
Wen takes game number 1. Emotion is a very real thing at Clash Royale, and you wonder now if Buffmac getting those BMs back and starting to get in his head. That is why the players that play with zero emotion, like Canario, are so terrifying, because no matter what you do, they're always on the same playing field. Right now, it feels like Buffmac might be a little on tilt.
Oh, very possibly, but you also saw, as the camera was pulling away from Buffmac, just a little bit of shooting some daggers over towards his opponent with those eyes.
Yeah, very, very upset.
So, shades of Hog EQ from Wen?
And from Buffmac, we could be seeing that Prince control, and there's the Inferno to confirm. We've got the minor Prince control deck that has been doing very well here.
Yeah, even with the loss the other day, or a couple losses the other day, still at 9-2 overall, an 81% win rate for this specific deck.
You see the Snowball coming in to take those skellies out of the way, opening up the lane for the Prince. Going to require a Barb Barrel as well.
So the Earthquake's going to make things tough for the Inferno Tower, obviously, but then behind that, you have the giant Snowball to push that Hog away.
And you see the Snowball coming in, and Buffmac recognizes, look, I know you have Snowball, and you know I have these troops that are going to die to it. I'm going to play a Prince, and you're going to waste 2 Elixir. Now no Snowball in hand. What is Wen going to do here?
Whoa, Bats almost do a lot of damage. Luckily, Archers get in for Wen just in time. Halfway through the opening 3 minutes, and right now, both players pretty much the same spot.
And that was a very, very well-played, well-executed defense from Wen, surrounding the Prince with the 3 skeletons, being able to come back in his elixir deficit.
And there you go with the high Inferno Tower. Maybe Buffmac thinking the Earthquake would come out on that push and would get a juke. But Wen being patient playing that Earthquake.
Yep, Wen ahead 2 elixir. Moving into double elixir time now. Everything being split in the back, trying to not give too much snowball value. Snowball and Miner come in for Buffmac once again, getting a few hits in on that tower.
Prince meets the Hog, and this time throws the Earthquake to slow down the defensive troops.
No snowball, no Inferno Tower from Buffmac, taking 2 big hits from that Hog.
Skeletons pick up, and just outside of the poison range.
Ooh, look at that snowball from Wen, cleaning up the bats, and now 2 more hits will come in from that Hog Rider. 3 hits!
A 3rd hit, and the Earthquake down. Skeletons do pick up the Miner. Bar Barrel coming in to finish that Miner off. And Wen now, zap, 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 zap. He knows he just did his job perfectly. Wen taking it here.
Wen once again for Pain Gaming. He has come through in the clutch so many times, and you see their coach, 5-1, baby, 5-1. Pain Gaming stays at the top and separates themselves from the rest of the pack by 1 more game. And you look at Team Liquid, they are dejected, they are upset. They were so very close. Great plays from Diego B, great plays from Buffmac, but there you see right there, Wen is unstoppable right now.
It was just a stunner, and that's, I think, the word most for Team Liquid is stunned right now. And it's just the way that Wen played in that final game. The patience playing Hog EQ. You know, some of you might be playing that Hog Earthquake deck a lot at home. It's been very popular as of late.
Yeah.
And what Wen did there was absolutely perfect. Just not overcommitting with any Hog cycle deck. Just always trying to go, when I throw my Hog, I throw my spell. It's a really common mistake people make, but Wen just held back, didn't get picked up. You saw the high Inferno to dodge the Earthquake. He didn't throw it. Beautiful play, beautiful mind games, and beautiful focus from the Brazilian.
Yeah, I mean, he just continued to make predictive plays throughout. You saw the snowball missing the first time, but making it up later on, taking down those bats. Wen was just playing picture perfect, and right now we're going to go take a look at some of those plays from Wen.
Taking a look back at the final game of the day, an emotional back and forth between these two teams. And of course, it was Wen and Buffmac in the end. Buffmac playing that nearly unbeatable Miner Prince Spear Goblin deck up against Hog Earthquake.
Yeah, and you see right here that Wen goes in for the predictive snowball, and Buffmac plays a Prince and then throws the BM up. Well played, knowing that that was most likely going to be Wen's response. Now, however, Wen keeps up the pressure. He's got the Hog down here with the EQ, getting some decent amount of damage on the tower, a little bit on the Prince, but the more impressive thing is how quickly he cycles back to the Hog. Ice Golem down, Bar Barrel down, Archer's down, Skelly's down, Hog again, and then what comes in? Oh yes, it's the Snowball to clean up the bats, and some big Hog Rider hits in. 1, 2, and 3. Gonna change the game in just a moment. Well played. Good game coming from the Brazilian, Wen.
And with all that perfect play, picking up the Miner with the Skellies at the end. So beautiful play by Wen, but not the only beautiful play. We are joined by Surge TS from right now the 5-1 2v2. Surge, you've so far beat Flash and Jose Brand, Kuchiku Benhu, Baron and Loweye, Aw Crap and the God RF, now Surgical Goblin and Canario. Of those 5 teams, which victory means the most to you right now?
And I'll piggyback on that saying, how did it also feel to beat Surgical Goblin?
For the first question, I think that the most important 2v2 victory was against or Queso or Immortals, because they both had a good history of a perfect 2v2 almost, and they were champions from their regions last year out. So, but I think the Immortals, we were a little bit more afraid of their 2v2 because we always saw their matches this season and they were playing nearly perfect. And they have this couple from 2v2 for a long time.
Yeah.
More time than us.
And then with Surgical Goblin, you know, you've been wanting to play him to figure out who is the greatest Surge out there, and then you took him down in 2v2, 2-0. How was that?
It was really good. I was thinking, would they use Diego B and Buffmac or Surgical Goblin Canario? And it was better this way because I wanted to be the other Surgical.
Now, you'd already done your job by this point. We're in the King of the Hill, and Carnage comes out and plays Ice Bow. You guys just pulled off an amazing snipe on La Picati the other day.
Yep.
What was the team thinking and feeling and talking about when they saw that snipe come out against the Ice Bow?
Me personally, at the start I thought it was Golem, and Golem wasn't too bad of a matchup. But when we saw the whole deck, I think that we were feeling like it's almost impossible. But yeah, but I think that if Carnage can beat a lot of hard matchups with Ice Bow. That's his thing. But sometimes it was too much of a counter.
Yeah, I mean, that seemed basically unbeatable. But congratulations to you guys today.
We have another one up right now. Let's head in to Cream versus Complexity. So coming up, Cream Esports versus Complexity. Complexity getting back into the winners column with some great performances. Of course, Vulcan and then Air Surfer, both with brilliant King of the Hill work. Cream started off at the top and now is fighting to stay in that top half of our standings.
Yeah, and if Cream takes it today, they will be in second place right behind Pain. And they are the only team that has beaten Pain Gaming so far at CR this season. Now, on the other side of it, as you said, Complexity in second place now, looking to solidify their position right there at the top.
So making their way to the stage right now, led by their coaches, Drexen and Lucy, a.k.a. Coach Kyle, bringing their boys to the floor.
Drexen's got some swag going on with that outfit, man. I'm a big fan.
I'm a chain for chain, him or Jose Brayan, who's got the bigger one. And of course, look at the Cream. You have the boys, Jose Brayan, Lindsay, who has been on a tear this season, Flash and Diego E, both who have had their moments, especially in 2v2, and a fantastic staff behind them. Cream Esports looking to take claim on that top #2 spot.
Yeah, very curious to see if we will see Diego E come out today. He did not play in the last 2 matches. On the other side of it, the boys in blue that Rich was just talking about. We've got Vulcan, Colton W83, Air Surfer, Razor, Adrian Piedra, and of course, Coach Kyle there on the end. As I said, looking to lock their position in that second place. They stumbled at the beginning of the season. They have found their momentum, they have found their rhythm, and they are ready to move to the top.
Let's head into our opening set. So no big surprises here. Colton and Razor coming out for Complexity in 2v2, but Cream Esports making a change, and no big surprises there either with the struggles they've had in 2v2. Got to mix it up, so instead of Flash now, it's Jose Brayan and Diego E.
Yeah, and I really like this decision because Lindsay has shown he is a 1v1 titan. Flash has emerged as a King of the Hill all-star. Let's find a great place for Diego E and Jose Brayan to play, and hopefully for them, 2v2 is it, because if they master 2v2, Cream becomes one of the top-tier teams in this league.
2v2 has just been a struggle. I think they've gone, I want to say 1-5 overall in the opening set, which puts you at a big deficit.
Yeah, and you know, being able to do what they've done, staying with their record, staying in 5th place, just shows you the talent and depth of their roster. But if they lock down that 2v2 set, then they're going to become just as scary as Pain, which is, they're the only team that's actually beaten Pain.
Giant Skeleton at the bridge. Picking up those support troops. Not going to get much value out of that graveyard.
Yep, that Giant Skeleton bomb will clean up that Musketeer.
Bye-bye, Muskie.
And the Ice Spirit sneaks up front.
Poison down in response to the graveyard. Baby Dragon as well, but quite a bit of damage there on the right-hand tower of Complexity.
Yeah. Both teams resetting, figuring out what they want to do. One of the biggest successes of running double graveyard is finding the way to just keep alternating so it feels like your opponent almost never is not defending against a graveyard. Now you see Cream really turning up the heat now as we work towards double elixir time.
final minute of regulation, and Cream currently in control.
Very impressed by Cream in this moment, not having excuse me, I'm very impressed with Complexity right now, with Cream having all the answers that they do to defend against the Graveyard. Somehow, Complexity is still breaking through.
So Complexity now defending both lanes. They decided to Giant Skeleton up in the left-hand lane, put a little pressure away from their weak tower. And here we go, some Skeletons getting on tower, forcing the Tornado to come out and just do enough to stop that Graveyard from shredding that left-hand Princess.
Cream still with about a 700 HP lead.
And Complexity very low on Elixir, and the freeze comes in. Able to hang on, but still take a fair bit of damage in the right-hand lane. We are in sudden death overtime, and Cream getting very close to spell cycle range.
Yeah. Prince comes down to protect the Dark Goblin. A Dark Prince Graveyard push in the left-hand lane by Complexity.
NATO Snowball, Dark Prince stays alive, gets a big hit. Freeze comes down defensively, knowing their tower was in trouble. And now here we go, with both the poisons down, Cream is going to take game number 1, but that was unbelievably close.
Yeah, too close for comfort.
Oh, wow,
we need another spell out of Cream right now. Where is it? No
Freeze
spell
comes down. Skeleton's on tower! Complexity takes it with just 19 HP on their top right tower!
And you look at that, that is where miscommunication comes into play. The experience of Colton and Razor really taking over. And as I was saying early on, which I miffed twice, was that Complexity had all the answers for the Graveyards, but they were not defending them well. Somehow they stay alive long enough to steal that from Cream.
So game number 2, and you see Diego E. Jose Bray, and they can just, all they can do is laugh after what happened that last time. They made a bit of an error, time to regroup, come back, and get back into game number 2.
Yeah, and you have to tip your hat to the persistence, the perseverance behind Colton and Razor, never giving up, seeing their opening at the very last seconds and taking advantage of it. And like you said, if you're Cream, you just got to laugh it off and come back in this game just as strong as you were in the first.
Lava Lava. Probably 2 more.
A very high lightning up top. Catch that lava.
High Inferno Tower. High Lightning. Miner to the back. Quick, easy King Tower activation by Complexity.
Yep. It's going to help out a lot with every single one of the Lava Hound pushes coming in from Cream.
And you see Razor kind of grinning there. I wonder if it's more about the King Tower activation or the cheeky Lava Hound to pick up the Mega Minion. And now that Lava Hound's going to get deep in and all the way on tower.
Yep. Baby Dragon and Mega Minion there with the bat should negate most all the damage.
Choosing not to support it, just instead playing solid defense, preparing for the next round. And once again, 4 Baby Dragons.
Yep.
You know, Andrew, those Baby Dragons really are everywhere. I was reading the first Game of Thrones book, and there were 3 of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, shocker.
Lava Hound going opposite lane, Cream responding. I'm still learning how to read.
Congratulations, man. It really is a journey. I only started because of those posters in public school libraries.
Another high Inferno played by Cream. I believe I said Lightning earlier, seeing the Lightning played by them as well.
So some differences between these 2 Lava approaches. We have not seen a Miner yet from Complexity. Oh, there we go. Miner does finally come out.
Still waiting to see a big spell from them, however, and there's the big spell.
And we don't see a Lumberjack from Cream, so Complexity may be hedging their bet a bit with the Lumberjack in case they're up against some sort of ground troop, like a Royal Giant deck.
And a Mini P.E.K.K.A. comes in to meet the Lumberjack, so Mini P.E.K.K.A. is going to be a very, very hard counter for that Lumberjack.
You gotta wonder, though, the ancillary benefit of the Mini P.E.K.K.A. being maybe a harder hitting response to some of those tanky troops if they were on the ground. versus the fact that Lumberjack is going to provide that rage utility.
To everything, whether it's your Princess Tower, your offensive push, your defensive push, whatever it might be, or your defensive cards, I should say. I really prefer the utility that comes with the Lumberjack, providing so much when it goes down. Double Lava in, Inferno not able to focus on the second Lava Hound, and now a defensive poison comes down for Cream.
Lumberjack gets through, does rage up a little bit, but the bats clean up those pups. Nice work for Cream. We are now 20 seconds into overtime.
Cream still has a slight advantage.
And you see that King Tower activation coming into play, keeping that bat from sneaking through and getting a bit of chip damage.
Lightning's all around. However, Complexity's Lightning does hit the tower and finally gives them the lead.
Baby Dragon nearly aggroed onto the Dark Prince, instead turns towards the Lava Hound.
And we still have not seen the Lava Hound Miner combination executed by Complexity in this game.
Few minor shots in the back, and now just about 220-ish XP, or HP.
Yeah, that Miner getting all the shots from the King Tower. It's just so important to get that King Tower activated if you have the opportunity.
Now, while this game has been taking place in the left-hand lane for a while, don't forget that it was on the right-hand side. You see the Tower of Complexity on the right down at 618.
And the spell value from Complexity is just getting crippling. It is brutal. Poisons and lightnings galore, bringing that tower down below 500. Or, yep, there's 500, 300. Only 298 left on the bottom left tower for Cream, and that is just a lightning away.
Nice defense, and you see how they went with the guards in front, Lumberjack in the back to pick up the Miner whichever side it went. Good communication from Complexity. Lightning comes in, and that is it. 2v2 goes Complexity's way, and that is now 3 matches in a row that they have won the opening set.
What is Cream gonna do to bounce back? And after a dominant showing in that 2v2 set, it looks like Jose Brian will be back out going up against Vulcan.
And Vulcan has been so nasty this season, 6-1 in King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Of course, he was nasty last season as well.
Yeah, very, very true. And the last time we saw Vulcan on this stage was when he swept through Benihoo, Dark Angel, and Azilis from Team Queso. He sat out their last match against Dignitas.
And before that, it was beating Hazard and Thunderstruck, and then and Carter, and of course, then going again in 1v1 against Thunderstruck. So 2 sweeps so far for Vulcan. Jose Brian with some mixed results. Beating Surge TS, losing to Carnage, and there you go, Rocket right on to the Sparky.
And you never, ever want that to happen.
So, a fast Hog Cycle deck with Rocket, wondering maybe if there's Xe NATO at the end of this, although there'd be no small spell against NATO.
Yeah. And with that Rocket being in hand, you know that Vulcan is going to have to be very, very conservative with how he plays his Sparky.
Jose Brian.
Or, sorry,
Yeah.
yes, thank you.
So far, Vulcan playing picture perfect. Rocket, a bit of a surprise. We have not seen much Rocket at all this season.
No, not really.
Really, it's only been in Mortar Bait, and then, you know, it's limited appearances with Icebo, which have not gone too well.
Yeah, and then mainly showing up in 2v2 in those minor spell cycle decks. Lumberjack getting through to tower, nothing there to pick up. Lumberjack on the tower, a snowball is not going to be enough.
Jose Brian just completely out of Elixir.
Look at that, 808 HP on one and 1310 on the other, and you already see him kind of sighing in defeat on his tower.
This is a great play from Vulcan, and Rocket comes in perfect
look at
timing.
that.
Wow, wow. I mean, the way Vulcan's playing right now is so absolutely insane.
He's living in the future, Rich. You heard all the pros behind us losing their minds on that play. The Rocket takes 4 seconds to travel. That was sent from the future.
I mean, at this point, it's possible that Jose Brand could get this tower down, although it's going to be tough duty for him. No, 15 seconds left. That's going to be it. Vulcan with an astounding performance in the opening game of King of the Hill. There's a reason why everyone keeps clamoring to see him. Everyone's talking about him. He is playing on another level right now. Jose Brand doesn't even wait to see the clock hit 0.
He was already off of the tower by the time the clock hit 0. Vulcan does it again. That is now 4 in a row. And let me just make a quick adjustment there. You didn't think to look that far back. I didn't like to look that far back. That's his 7th King of the Hill victory in a row.
That's so wild. That's so absolutely wild. And then, of course, going 2-1 against Thunderstruck in 1v1.
That's the only game he's lost since 3 matches ago for Complexity. He took down Hazard, Thunder, Carter, Benihoo, Dark Angel, Azelis, and now Jose Bryan.
This is a guy who was already so good last season. People are talking about him being #1. And he's better this season. He just is.
And now, with Complexity hitting their stride in 2v2, every other team should be scared right now. So, speaking of people that are scary in King of the Hill, Flash is 3-1.
Flash, a very talented player, had great performances last season in Latin America. You know, he's been overshadowed a little bit this season with the insane play of Lince, but he's also a fantastic player.
Yeah, and that Rage gets that Fire Spirit to tower. Very small interaction, but an important one.
So RG Furnace most likely for Vulcan here, and then Flash playing Goizen, the giant minor poison.
I cannot get over that rocket.
It was so crazy.
It was so crazy.
It was so crazy. I mean, that it can't work out better than that.
Giant going in the left lane now instead of the right.
So Prince is going to make things a little bit better for Flash in regards to that lightning, if that's being used against the support troops.
We see the Miner coming in to assist the Prince on that E-Wiz. Lumberjack on the left should be enough to take down everything. That Snowball is ill-advised.
Picture perfect defense one more time.
Mega Minion should get a swipe in. There we go.
So you gotta think about what Flash might want to do here to get past the defense, and playing a little more conservative, knowing the Royal Giant's coming pretty soon, getting that poison value, all smart moves from the Cream player.
Playing into the same lane here now, knowing that the Giant Prince combo should prevail over obviously the Royal Giant not doing any damage to the units. Obviously a lot to the tower. Down below 1,000 HP.
And Miner to the back, this Prince not going to survive, so poison minor damage as we go into the final 20 seconds of regulation. Vulcan out to a commanding lead.
Yeah, and not an insignificant amount of damage coming through on Vulcan's tower, but he knows he's got this massive 500 HP cushion and lightning.
Furnace down, E-Wiz behind.
That's some great poison value if he can get the E-Wiz, which he cannot.
Just one tie. You couldn't do all of it. Decided to go for the Furnace, and if the E-Wiz, he knew the E-Wiz would walk through at the end, but there we go. Royal Giant shot number 1, Royal Giant shot number 2, down to 347. Shot number 3, that's going to be it. Lightning not even needed.
And look at the E-Wiz still alive, and stunning everything from Flash. Vulcan just feeling himself. He's on top of his game right now. I'm going to go ahead and steal a bowling term called the turkey. The turkey is when you get 3 strikes in a row. Vulcan is about to go through 3 perfect King of the Hills.
One more player in front of him, of course, in Lince, who's been fantastic in King of the Hill as well. But if Vulcan can pull off this game, it won't just be 3 King of the Hill sweeps in a row for Vulcan, which is unheard of.
Right.
It'll be 4 for the team because of what Air Surfer did in their last match.
Oh, yeah. Air Surfer taking down Frost, Eddie, and Oxlet from Dignitas in their last match. Now, Complexity is just really emerging as a premier top-tier team. Everyone knew it beforehand. Everyone knew it from last season. As we said before, they stumbled a little bit at the beginning, and now just really establishing themselves as a dominant force.
Vulcan going with another Hog Cycle deck, this time with guards.
Inferno Tower there to catch the Giant, not what Lince wanted to see.
Zap resets.
Still not going to be enough.
Hog with bats, so crazy aggressive in that right lane.
Gets just one Hog hit in, but that Prince should still be healthy enough to demand a response. There we go.
And guards a perfect, fantastic response. Now this is actually a really great call that Vulcan's making right now, and this probably I bet this is an entire team decision, because in the matches that Lince has played, he has played Prince in I think over 2/3 of those matches, 2/3 of his games.
So that's why you're seeing the guards. That's why you're seeing the Ice Golem, and of course the bats. They're a great way to put a huge amount of DPS that the Prince can't stab up.
Yeah, I mean, some fantastic deck calls today all the way around. Of course, the snipe that we saw against Carnage earlier was beautiful. But this was a really, really great deck choice, going with a pretty simple construction, a response to the Giant, a response to the Prince, and of course the Inferno Tower also a response to the Prince.
Yeah, and Lince has to pick and choose. Do I zap the bats? Do I zap the Inferno Tower? What do I do?
Hog cycled back in again.
Will not connect due to that Ice Spirit.
But you spent 6 on 4.
And those negative trades are just making Vulcan happier and happier.
Inferno Tower still protected for the moment. Nice lightning to get value on the Musketeer and the tower.
Yeah, even hits the Giant with it. Now he won't even have to play an Inferno Tower. I mean, this is just next level stuff.
Look at the way he just protected his Musketeer in front of that Mega Minion as well. I mean, Vulcan's doing everything right.
Yeah. he is literally playing perfect Clash right now, and all of his opponents know it. Everyone in this room knows it.
Guards bringing the Prince over towards the Musketeer while the Inferno Tower takes care of the Giant. Lince really in a tough spot here. This is a very difficult matchup that his opponent is playing just beautifully.
Yeah, and you talked about those guards coming over to keep the Prince off of the Inferno Tower. Once again, just the order of operations going through Vulcan's mind is unmeasured right now.
And immediately hogs up in that right-hand lane. Prince to respond.
Will get 2 hits in, 2 big hits.
And the Prince is really the only response he has to the Hog.
You see the pre-log coming in, a nice thought, nice play by Lince, but the guards with the Inferno Tower still, even without their shield, is enough to stun the Prince, distract the Prince for the Inferno Tower to burn it down.
Barbell gets behind. Now Hog Rider, knowing the Prince is out of cycle, getting to the right-hand lane. Spent a lot. Again, so that's still 6 being spent to defend against 4.
6 for 4. And a healthy Inferno Tower still on the field. Ice Golem should pull the Mega Minion into it. Value for days.
Look, let's be very clear, though. Lince does have 1734 done on that left-hand lane. There could be something. He could break through. Vulcan's been playing perfect so far, and he does have a very good matchup, but anything can happen with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, one Prince charge, and you have Vulcan all of a sudden behind.
Ice Golem pulls, bats, aggro, Hog Rider comes in, Prince is out of cycle.
Vulcan knowing that he could play the bats up high. Lince having to choose between, once again, zapping the bats or zapping the Inferno Tower.
I mean, those of you at home, if you're wondering why are Rich and Andrew so quiet right now, it's basically because we're both stunned.
Yeah,
we're both absolutely in awe of what we're seeing at the moment.
It's unbelievable the way he's playing, and that Hog will get another hit in unless, yeah, I see Lince is spending 6 once again, not having a lot to support the Giant push. As you can see, not even enough for the zap. He's so frustrated, shaking his head. You see the blowing raspberries is what we call it here. He just can't believe it.
Well, he thought he was going to get that Mega Minion on tower, and then Ice Golem last second just sneaks in and takes it.
Yep, and now Hog comes in again, gonna have to spend a lot of elixir. Zap finally comes down on the Inferno Tower.
And that's a nice Giant shot, 2 Giant shots, so that left-hand lane now starts to be in a little bit of trouble. Things are not that far anymore. 30 seconds left.
Oh, and the Hog just gets right through, and that feels like the nail in the coffin. You know Inferno is back around. That Prince is not healthy enough. Honestly, could have just let it connect.
Yep, totally could have. One more Hog Rider to get in. Vulcan trying to put a stamp on this thing. Fireball will probably come in. Or the Lightning, I mean, will probably come in here just to put a stamp down on it, but he knows he has the win. There you go. Vulcan goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 King of the Hill victories in a row. This is absolutely insane the way he's playing.
4 straight King of the Hill sweeps from Complexity, and let's not forget that Colton and Razzer are back in fighting form. Coach Kyle could not be more proud of his squad. And Cream doing the great job that they do as a team, consoling one another, keeping each other's heads up high, but it's hard after a beating like that.
Dude, I mean, and let's be honest, everyone was thinking that Complexity might be in trouble with the way their first match went against Tribe, losing the 2v2 with the kind of play they made, and then the King of the Hill not going their way. And then on top of that, the match against Energy when they lost 2v2, when it was against Hazard and Carter, again looking like, oh, these guys might have some chinks in the armor. But then the way they're playing in King of the Hill, it's insane. And people, this is what people wanted to see. Yeah, fine. Maybe you can beat Vulcan, but can you beat Air Server? Maybe you can beat Air Server, but can you beat Adrian Piedra? And right now, the answer is no.
You just can't. You just cannot stop them. And Colton and Razzer, as you said, they struggled against Hazard and Carter. They had a rough time against Energy. Not since then. Everyone is firing on all cylinders. Complexity now in second place.
And you know Vulcan was feeling himself after playing that Hog Rocket deck when he hit that beautiful play on the Spark.
Rocket.
The whole, I mean, everyone here went absolutely insane seeing that, and it's really just indicative of the way he's playing. You said he's playing in the future, and I think the future is obviously bright for these guys. We're going to go talk to Vulcan, obviously. Let's head to the stage and see what he thinks about today's match.
Thank you, guys. I got Vulcan here. Now, man, that was an incredible game to watch. I have to ask you, you know, in your deck and your construction against Lindsay, your counters in general, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so against Lindsay, we noticed that he uses like a lot of Prince and he uses a lot of beatdown. So I was thinking Inferno Tower is good versus Prince, guards are good versus beatdown, and I just constructed a deck on the spot and it worked pretty well.
Indeed it did. So also, you are the first person to do a 3 King of the Hill sweep. How does that feel?
I mean, honestly, it feels amazing, not gonna lie, but it's like, I have to keep the mentality of every game is my first game or every game is my last game. I can't let it get to my head because as soon as I go up there, I'm just like, and I get too proud, I'm gonna start losing. So I just gotta keep playing safe and not let the pride get to me.
Well, is there anything, and this is my last question, is there anything that you'd like to say to your fans, your Complexity fans, your fans watching?
Yeah, thank you guys for supporting me. A lot of people will DM me and like send me messages on Twitter, and then on YouTube, there's always nice comments. So just thanks for all the support.
Thank you, Vulcan, for your time. Well, let's get that amazing breakdown. So we're going to throw it to the desk.
Thanks a lot, Pow. And of course, he should be confident. There's no reason not to be confident, but still focused and measured is Vulcan.
I love his mindset. I love that he says it could be my first, last game, whatever it is. That is how you stay in the zone. That is how you play the way that Vulcan is playing. And that is how you make plays like this specifically.
This is absolutely wild. So here we go. You saw this. This is in the first game against Jose Brian, and playing that Hog Musketeer Rocket. He already hit the Sparky with the Rocket one time, but check this out. We're getting right to the point where that Hog's going to come down in the middle, and Jose Brian does a smart move, gets that Sparky down perfect in response, but
the rocket takes 4 seconds to fly. The Sparky is charging up. Vulcan drops that rocket within a half of a second after dropping his Hog Rider, and that right there is why he's a pro. That is why he's one of the best in the world. And you saw Jose Brian, he couldn't believe what just happened.
That's a huge sellout, too. That's a lot of commitment there in case that goes wrong. That could be a huge problem. And then on top of that, we talk about that last construction. We called it the Prince in the deck. You see that Lindsay playing it all the time. Vulcan saw the same thing.
You called that.
I called it. Look, I'm doing deck research all day. And Vulcan nailed it. Nailed Lindsay, nailed Cream, and now 9 in a row. So very well played for Complexity, looking in same, if not better form from last season. And we're not done. Up next, it's another great 2v2 in Energy playing against Fnatic. So here we are, game number 3 of our match day, and it's the 2v2 prowess of Energy up against the heavy hitters from Fnatic.
Yeah, Fnatic really needing to take this 2v2 set, but at the same side of that, Energy must take this 2v2 set as well. They've been known as some of the best 2v2 players out there, so falling in that first set really cripples them moving forward with some novices on their team.
Let's head to the floor as our players make their way into the OGN Super Arena. Get ready to take their place on these big old towers.
Yeah, we have not seen Asuchini yet here from Fnatic, but we have seen a lot out of Faye and Javi 14, and Mikel04 has really kind of rounded out their squad for Fnatic. And of course, the addition of Thunderstruck to Energy, the big-time Red Bull MEO champion.
And look, the attitude from Energy has just been through the roof. They're comfortable, they're happy, they're having a good time. Even a smile from Carter there, ready to go out and play. Excited to see these guys go head-to-head with Fnatic. But they have a tough out in front of them in terms, especially with the young guy rising up in Mikel.
Yeah. Speaking of, on the other side of them, we have Fnatic. We've got Mikel there, second to the right with his coach, Asuchini in the center, Faye and Javi 14. Javi has been not a lights-out player here at CRL last season. This season, he is a heavy hitter, Rich.
Well, you have Fnatic coming off of a massive win, not just a win, but a straight sweep against SK Gaming, the 2v2 beating Morten and Sam. And then Mikel coming out in King of the Hill and sweeping Morten, Sam, and Soking. So that was 5 straight game wins for Mikel04 against a massively talented squad.
Yeah, and Carter and Hazard stumbled for the very first time against Team Queso, Azelis, and Benihou. Let's see if they can bounce back today.
So 2v2 has been up and down. Few wins, few losses for the boys in yellow from Fnatic. Hazard and Carter, though, have been fantastic thus far, only falling in 1 set.
Yeah, as a team, however, Energy 1 and 2. And with Faye and Javi up now in the 2v2 set, you just imagine that Mikel is going to go into that 1v1. I mean, obviously, there is the opportunity to put Asuchini in, but after the massive sweep over SK, Morten, OP Sam, and Soking all falling, unbelievable for Mikel04.
Yeah, that was a great performance. Straight games and back-to-back sets.
We got double Giant Skeleton coming out for Energy so far. Looks like Lava Hounds from Fnatic.
Javi appeared in the first 2 2v2 sets of the season, taking a win against Queso and a loss against Cream. Since then, took a break from 2v2, but his teammate Faye has appeared in every 2v2 set on the season.
Yeah, and he has been battling to get that positive record. 3 and 2 in sets, 7 and 6 in games, so it might not look pretty, but he's been getting it done.
So Carter and Hazard, a little more elixir in the hole right now, but have to contend with this lava push.
Poison coming down, getting excellent value for Fnatic.
And that's one way to pick up a miner, a giant skeleton.
And look at that, Carter misclicks the NATO, top of your screen, and he is not happy about that. It's not the end, but look at this. All the damage coming in on that tower due to that mistake.
Really brutal, really, really brutal.
They honestly got away with one too, with that giant Skelly Bomb taking out the Baby Dragon. That Baby Dragon should have taken that tower down.
Very true indeed. So cycling E-Wiz in the back again. Ice Wiz opposite lane behind the double giant skeleton push.
So let's see if Energy can bounce back from that early misplay.
You know,
or
Energy
if they sealed their fate.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Energy told me they had something different in store, and here it is.
Ooh.
It's the mirror on a giant skeleton deck, and you know, I don't know how this would have played if it wasn't for the misplay. I really want to see what they could have done with this if it hadn't been for the error with that NATO.
Yeah, you never really want to give away your secret of having a clone, having a mirror, or having a freeze. unless you have to, and right there it was a desperation mirrored Giant Skeleton. You see it, double Giant Skelly coming down again. And the clone. Wow, so I love the idea behind it, but you can't come back from a wasted NATO in single elixir time. Let's see if they can bounce back from this now. And I completely agree with you. I would have loved to have seen that deck come up in maybe a game 3. There was so much surprise behind it with the mirror and the clone. Could have had like 8 to 12 Giant Skeletons on the board at one point.
Would have been crazy. That's one of those ones that, you know, you see someone post a deck like that on Twitter or on Reddit, and you go like, okay, that's pretty cool. Does it actually work, though? And here we just didn't get a chance to see whether it would or wouldn't.
Yeah, and now you know Fnatic has that in the back of their mind. If they do end up seeing Energy and every other team Energy faces, if they ever see 2 Giant Skeletons again, that's the first thing that has to pop in their mind. We got to look out for the mirror. We got to look out for the clone.
Well, I love just the idea of taking risks and changing what's being done in 2v2. And right now, a lightning changing the fate of this interaction.
Yeah, that Lumberjack is not going to get on tower. Great defense, an extra fireball.
No.
Again, and you see Hazard telling Carter, it's okay, man, it's okay, calm down. We got this.
I think Carter's still upset from that NATO play from last game.
Yeah, and that was his fireball that came in late. So you can tell he's very frustrated with himself, but that's why they have a teammate up there. You got to remind him to stay calm. Game is not over, match is not over.
They were really, really excited about that surprise deck, so I know there's some disappointment there for sure.
And the bomb tower misses the pull on the Lava Hound, if that was the goal. So, some pretty big mental mistakes coming out for Energy as of right now.
That death damage from the bomb tower, though, getting some solid value.
And that is a lot on the tower, getting tanked for by the Miner. Mega Minion on the tower, that is going to be tower down.
Javi and Faye playing well.
They are just gliding right now.
Yeah.
Just real easy stuff for them. And honestly, they have been playing well, but Carter and Hazard have been playing uncharacteristically out of sync.
True, absolutely true. So final minute, gotta wonder if Carter and Hazard have any way to break to the second level. And as you see, they go for the minor Prince push, and the mini P.E.K.K.A goes to the back, but the Lumberjack meets the Prince at the bridge.
Yeah. And there's just no way to break through, and now you have a raged up mini P.E.K.K.A running towards your King Tower. Not going to get in the hit, not going to require a response, but just really frustrating for these guys over and over to see interactions not going their way. Lightning does come down for Fnatic, and now again, Fnatic in a position to have 2 towers fall. Nice defense there, but
Energy doing everything they can, but Fnatic just has this thing sewn up. They played really clean, and you know, just it's been a cascade of problems, all starting with that NATO in the last game.
Yeah, so 2 up and 2 down for Hazard and Carter when they took down Complexity and Dignitas, but now running into a huge speed bump with Team Queso and now Fnatic. Fnatic takes set 1. Let's move into King of the Hill.
So heading into King of the Hill, we know what 3 players will be making their way to the stage for Energy. The order, though, is going to be Hazard, followed by Thunderstruck, and if necessary, Carter. And for Fnatic, Javi comes out first, Mikel in the middle, and Faye as the anchor.
Yeah, and again, Mikel coming off of a massive, massive King of the Hill sweep. Feeling great in that second spot. Javi himself, 4-2 in King of the Hill games. He has not shown up in a 1v1 set yet.
He has had a couple big losses, though, to Tommy and Morten. And, of course, that loss by Morten was followed up by Mikel going through the 1-2-3.
Yeah, that was very shocking to most people here. Not that Mikel doesn't have it in the tank, it's just the fact of who he was going up against. He thought he might stumble at one point or come up with a hard counter, bad starting hand, but he was just lights out.
Hazard going Royal Hogs, and his teammate Thunderstruck has played a very similar construction so far, going 1-1 with that deck.
And Javi looking like he's rocking the Hog EQ.
So first minute down, Hazard slightly ahead in this best of 5. And again, all you need is one win. You've done your job.
Yep. The question is how can Javi break through? How can he break through those barbs? How can he get through the snowball coupled with maybe a bandit, bats, whatever it might be? That's one way.
That was really, really smart. Very interesting. You know, he got the bats were the defense, knew that was coming in, hit him with the snowball, a couple of big hog shots like we just saw in our previous match, and then the Inferno Tower easily cleans up those piggies.
And that's one of those moments where Hazard cannot play those bats as defense. That cannot be his effort in defending against the hog, with the snowball being the bats are the only unit the snowball's going to take out. So if that's what the condition is, if that's what the situation that you're in is, you cannot play the bats again for that.
So putting a lot all at the river, plenty of value for both of those spells.
Look at that, snowball plus EQ, doing a lot of work. Bandit and bats in front to tank for those hogs.
And the giant snowball just resets that entire push that's going nowhere.
Javi runs into a pack of barbs again.
Yeah, got around back to the barbs very quickly.
And the flying machine is going to be the it factor in this game. Javi has only one way of attacking it, really, in the archers. So he's got to essentially distract the units tanking for it and make sure his archers can get to it.
And that's a nice combination there with the bandit dash, but the EQ not quite letting the hog get all the way through. Down to 1183 anyway, and now Hazard begins to split lanes.
And he goes in very aggressive with the Flying Machine. Flying Machine picked up by the Ice Golem. A very nice heads-up Ice Golem from Javi 14.
Musketeer on the top right tower, though. That's a lot of damage, now down to 957. And suddenly, Energy and Fnatic even in the opening game.
Yeah, and that hit coming in from the hog, evening things up for Javi, but you saw right there Hazard doing a great job of applying dual lane pressure, and it was just too much for Javi to keep up with. Bats again with the snowball.
I mean, Hazard's going really, really aggressive with these dual lane pushes, trying to get those barbarians in, trying to get the piggies in, but that's leaving him with not many options on the back end, and he really has no other true response to pick up that hog rider. He can try to meet it with the bandit dash and throw a barb barrel behind, use a snowball to push off, but those barbs are the best response to a hog rider.
Ooh, and a big push coming in the left-hand lane.
There you go. So bandit tries to pick it up. Giant snowball comes in on offense.
Javi will take it, and right there you saw Javi is too good. He plays two heads up for you to keep throwing bats as a defense to a hog rider. Now, I understand Hazard didn't have a lot in his hand at the time, trying to create dual lane pressure, trying to create a counter push, but those bats as a defense to the hog rider is basically just giving Javi a gateway to your tower.
Up next for Energy, the Scottish sensation Thunderstruck will be making his way up to the podium. Thunderstruck so far 1-3 in our second set. Can he get one more victory right now?
And as you said, Rich, Thunder is 1-3, looking to maybe extend his record to 4-3, ideally for Energy. And his victory came over Tilted Eddie of Dignitas in their second match.
He has run into some difficulties, of course, against none other than Vulcan, who, I mean, understandable.
Yeah,
absolutely understandable.
Talk about a welcome to the league.
Yeah. So Thunderstruck opening up Spear Goblins.
And Snowball. Got minor bats on the other side. Mega Knight comes down. Bats will get on the tower. Thunder already not super happy about how that went.
So Thunder has played Mega Knight, Bats, and Spear Goblins in a Royal Hogs deck already. We'll see if that's where he's going again.
Prince is going to be a perfect counter for this Mega Knight and still demands some sort of defensive response.
Rascals pick up the Prince fairly easily. So Javi 14, Javi 14 going with the Minor Prince Spear Goblins deck that we've seen so much, and there you go. It is the Royal Hogs once again.
Yeah, once we saw the Rascals, there was basically no way it'd be anything else. And that one Spear Goblin will get a couple arrows in.
So first minute 15 down, and Javi out to a nice lead on the right-hand lane at 1,700. Thunderstruck has to find a way to make Javi make some choices.
Yeah, and right now, Javi is going to have to make them because Thunder is going all in the right lane. He's got 11 Elixir on the board. And great use of the Spear Goblins to distract the Inferno Dragon just long enough to keep that Prince alive.
Yeah, very, very nice work there. Giant Snowball comes in as well, so Javi playing very clean.
And I would not advise a Royal Hogs push here from Thunder, but he's going to go for it anyway.
Giant Snowball takes care of the first round of bats, but Giant Snowball in reply to take care of his bats and the Rascal Girl, and might get some shots here from these Spear Goblins.
Yep, does get a couple in. Javi played lights out defense again. Miner to the tower, nothing there to pick it up.
Yeah, the Rascal Girls do not turn around and put any damage on that Miner, so that Miner is free to do what it wants. Barbarian will get one shot as well.
Even with the Snowball coming in. So now just barely over 1,000 HP on Thunderstruck's bottom right tower. Oh, and look at that, the jump to the back. That is not good for Thunder.
So down to 641, Thunderstruck in a lot of trouble, going all in left-hand lane.
Inferno Tower comes down to catch those Hogs. Poison in to clean up the Spear Goblins, but not going to be enough. Miner in on the tower again.
That Inferno Dragon was a real problem. Not played in a good spot. Taken care of easily by the bats and that Spear Goblin, and Thunderstruck knows it.
Yeah, Thunderstruck very, very unhappy with how this ended up going for him. Javi now has worked his way through 2 of the 3 energy representatives in this King of the Hill set. Last up will be Carter, who, if you're energy, you gotta hope his mental toughness is back from that rough 2v2. The couple misplays he had there, you can tell, really affected him.
This has just been an emotionally draining game for energy, so let's hope that their coach and team can get Carter ready to come out here and go up against Javi 14. So up to the podium, Carter has 3 members of Fnatic in front of him, and those 3 are Javi 14, Mikel, and Faye.
Yeah, that is a tough mountain to climb. Ice skating uphill, if you will. But Carter can do it. He's shown us before. Last year in King of the Hill, he was 8-7. Really showing himself as a 2v2 specialist, but he definitely has what it takes in that head-to-head set.
Oh, and a lot of those 7 were those crazy razor-thin games decided by one spell.
Yeah, a lot of bad luck going Energy's way last season, and hopefully this year will not be the same for them. Nice connection there, and a big-time lightning to clear up all the units on the board for Javi.
Works out very nicely. Mortar opposite lane.
Mortar will get a lock.
Yeah, Carter does not have anything really. I mean, there we go. Ewiz gets down to take care of it, but...
Yep. And will retarget. That should do just enough to take the Mortar out of play.
Javi's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see you.
He's like, well, I did not expect that.
So Ram Rider was really popular first week or so of CRL West, has fallen out of favor due mostly to its 40% win rate at this stage in the season.
And if ever someone needed a win more, it's Carter in this moment. He
absolutely
needs to get a win. He needs to bounce back from what happened in the 2v2 set. Even if they don't take the match, him getting a win over Javi would be the confidence booster he needs to get back to where he was. Oh, and look at that great fireball.
Yeah.
Mortar will lock on the tower.
And now there goes the lead of Carter evaporating. And nice play with the snowball to push the baby dragon onto the side of Javi 14, where the Princess Tower can finish it off and give him one more mortar shot.
Ooh, and that nice snowball from Carter in return, taking that tower down to 585 HP, back in a commanding lead, goes to the back where Javi has sent the last 3 miners, I believe, and is picked up with the bandits. So Carter's still very much in this.
Yeah, Carter with a commanding lead once again. So Javi 14 with brilliant plays. Carter saying, dude, I can do it too.
Yeah, and there is a P.E.K.K.A. to meet the Prince.
And now Javi switches tacks, going to the defensive mortar.
Which, if a lightning comes down and he can catch, well, okay. Yep, Snowball's going to come down instead. Ram Rider going to get pushed back by the Snowball. No connection. Javi's smart enough to know that if he were to play something that cost a little bit more or would have given lightning value, that would have been just too good for Carter.
So Javi goes one tile off, and Carter goes inside, doesn't get the pickup. Heading into sudden death overtime, and Carter in the lead, but not by a ton. Giant snowball could push the King Tower, and it does!
Oh, look at that!
Beautiful play by Carter to activate King Tower, and with that miner being a key aspect of how Javi's getting on tower, that could be a game changer.
Yeah, not enough elixir right now. There's the mortar, just barely getting there. Lightning comes down, great plays. Carter knows he has his number, and Carter will be taking this game unless Javi has some sort of a miracle connection with a miner and Goblin Gang with a Dark Goblin in the back. That's the only way to get the damage in time.
So Miner goes to the back, Bats in front, Prince up high. Now remember, Javi does have options to get a lightning block.
Yes, he absolutely does. Carter has to make sure he plays that lightning smart. Snowball in first.
That's going to be it, lightning behind. Nice play by Carter, activating King Tower, taking the win, and now he needs 2 more to send his squad into 1v1.
And I said it during the game, that is what Carter needed. Now that he has the confidence back, now that he has the momentum, maybe, just maybe, he can take down Mikkel04 and Faye and push this to a set number 3. And now Mikkel looking to not quite repeat, but bring home the King of the Hill victory for his team. Again, he just got off of a massive sweep over SK, Morten, OP Sam, and Soking.
Yeah, that really was a breakout performance for Mikkel, who has been great in SLO, who's done well on ladder, but on this stage, that was maybe a potential turning point for the young man.
Yeah, still trying to kind of make a name for himself at CRL West specifically, as you said, more known around the world, but at CRL West, he didn't have that huge moment. Well, there it was.
So far looking like pretty traditional Pekka Iwa's bridge stam from Mikkel.
Nice poison there. These two teams completely even.
Carter may be playing Graveyard. He has played it once before with Dark Prince.
One big Barbarian swing now. Coming in for Mikkel.
Going lava.
And a great tombstone, knowing that it was going to get in front of the bandit. Now what does Carter have for the Pekka? That is the question.
I don't know if he has anything for the Pekka at this stage. Does not have anybody to get back around, so he's going to go in. He's going to go all in on that Lava Hound.
Man, I don't like the play of the Mega Minion there. It's not going to actually stop the Pekka, which now is just 3 wasted elixir to not support your Lava Hound. That could be the whole entire, and you see him shaking his head going, oh man, that was not what I should have done.
Yeah, poison down as well, so a lot of trouble here. Oh no, never mind, that was his poison. Miner to the back, and Miner's gonna tank for some of these pups.
You see the bandit coming down. Carter will take this tower down to 361. Just finishing my sentence, that's all.
Yeah, exactly. So, look, we've all played for a while, and we've seen Pekkas be played aggressively.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people Pekka in the back early. Bad move unless you know something. And a Pekka at the bridge like that, normally not a good move, but you have Pekka in cycle and a Lava Hound comes down like that, you just saw the way it can pay off, especially knowing, oh boy.
And now what looked like a game Carter could bounce back from, that was the nail in the coffin. That was the door being shut on energy. There is almost no way to come back from this.
He's got to hope that he can turn this into a big lava push. 20 seconds left.
Pekka down. Pekka will tank for the pups. Poison down for Carter.
Miner hopefully coming in. Nope, not going to happen. Carter knows that it just did not go his way today. Mikkel closing things out for Fnatic and giving them their 4th win on the season.
Yeah, 4th win on the season. Mikkel04 now moving to 6-3. Before he started his reign of terror in King of the Hill, he was 2-3. And that's how quickly things can change here at CRL West.
Just an unbelievably rough day for energy, and I mean, there's some highlight reel stuff in that game, but in the end, it was the play of Fnatic that came out on top. And of course, Javi 14 in 2v2 and King of the Hill playing absolutely fantastic. Let's go to the floor and hear what he has to say.
Thanks, guys. I got Javi 14 and Coach Jose here. Now I'm going to ask you a few questions. I want to know, you took a break from 2v2. What was the reason for that roster change today?
Pues tenemos 4 jugadores que somos todos muy sólidos y creo que podemos ir variando muy bien en tanto en 2 contra 2 como en 1 contra 1. O sea, somos todos jugadores al fin y al cabo de primer nivel y estamos demostrando que no siempre juegan los mismos, todo el mismo set, ¿sabes?
He said that we changed just because in our roster we got 4 players very solid in 2v2 and 1v1, so we can be changing and any of them can do a good performance in any role and that. So he's happy with this.
Now I have to ask, having Mikel come in, does that take a little pressure off?
Pues Mikel siempre ha sido muy buen jugador, al igual que Feya Suchini. Y, o sea, el problema de Mikel era que era nuevo en la liga y igual los nervios le pasaron un poco de factura al principio, pero después está sabiendo llevarlo y todo y pues se está anteponiendo y jugando muy bien.
He said that Mikel always was really good in playing and he always got a really good level, but the problem before these last 2 games was that he was really nervous playing at the stage because he's a new player. This is his first season in CRL, playing on a stage, and now that he feels more confident, he can do a really good performance. Also, Faye and Asuchini are really good players.
I got to ask you my last question here. Is there anything you'd like to say to your community? A shout out to all your friends watching at home?
Pues si podéis seguir apoyándonos, vamos a seguir luchando por ir a China y bueno, si seguís apoyándonos, vamos a estar 100% allí.
Well, he said that you can just keep supporting us. Everyone of you can support us because we want to be in China, and if we keep going and keep doing like this, we want to be there.
All right, well, let's see it.
Thanks a lot, Pau. Some interesting insight there from Javi and talking a lot about the hard part of moving up in Clash Royale, and that's getting under these bright lights.
Yeah, an incredibly mature response from Javi. You can only imagine how much he learned last year. We've all seen the shot of him with his head down on the World Finals stage, and that man has a lot of knowledge to pass on.
Next up, we're getting into Dignitas facing off against Misfits. Fourth up for the day, Misfits Gaming facing off against Dignitas. Misfits has finally got themselves back on track, it seems. A big part of that being the gameplay of Wings.
Yeah, Wings has been playing out of his mind, but this is definitely a must-win situation now. I know I've said that a little bit generously today, but it is very, very true for both these teams and the following match. No one wants to lose this. No one wants to go to 1-4 or 1-5.
Let's go ahead and welcome our teams into the OGN Super Arena, and excited to see those slick Misfits jackets making their way out on Team Bad Bunny, and of course the black and yellow of Dignitas on the right-hand side.
And if you will notice at home, Misfits walking out with 1 less player today. He is on the bench. We wish Baron a speedy recovery of that broken foot.
Yeah, I'll have to ask Baron what happened there, but don't worry, his thumbs still work fine. So we'll be seeing Baron into the mix. Of course, trainer Chris Loweye and Wings, who has really stepped up his game even more than we would have imagined from how great he was last season.
Yeah, 5-2 now in King of the Hill. He has been their 1v1 all-star, and on the other side of it, we've got Oxla that has brought it home for Dignitas in that King of the Hill set. Blaze, Frost, and Eddie, of course, their coach, PT105 on the far right. Dignitas must win today. They cannot drop to 1-5. Both teams looking to get that second win today. Let's go to 2v2.
And crutching his way to the top, it is Baron teaming up with Loweye one more time in 2v2, facing off against the second appearance of the duo, Eddie and Blaze, who came so close against Complexity.
Yeah, as you said, just a couple mental mistakes, couple misplays throughout that cost them the game, and that is honestly the way it goes when you play against Colton and Razor in 2v2. They will take advantage of every misplay that you make and punish you for it.
I'm a little surprised here, and unsurprised at the same time, that Dignitas, that Eddie and Blaze are playing Lava Hound. They played Lava Hound 3 games in a row against Complexity, and of course Eddie plays Lava Hound all the time.
Yeah, Lava Clone is his go-to 1v1 deck, and everyone's figured that out. So he will not be in the 1v1 set, but he could pop in King of the Hill, and if he does, you gotta imagine he's not gonna play that deck.
I mean, look, it's paid off pretty heavily in the first couple of pushes here. Significant damage on both lanes.
Yeah.
And there we go. Giant Snowball coming in to stop what's left of that graveyard push, but a late freeze puts a few more shots on that tower.
Yeah, down to 1478. Misfits raging into the lead. Baron figured out if you want a chair on the podium, all you have to do is break your foot.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, are you listening?
I broke my foot a long time ago playing football, and that is a painful injury.
Miner picks up the Dark Prince. Poison now. They do have 2 poisons in the deck for Dignitas, so I really hope they're always saving one of those for these graveyard pushes.
Yeah, and that's the moment where you got to think the communication is key. Blaze and Eddie have to make sure, okay, you use your poison on this graveyard. I will use mine on the next. If ever they double poison, they will lose the game.
Down to 12-10. So that graveyard does pay off a little bit, but a fairly healthy Lava Hound push, and Lumberjack High takes care of the Ice Wiz. And the Giant Skeleton not able to protect the Musketeer in time.
No, not at all. Everything NATO'd together. Giant Skeleton walks right past, and that bomb death damage will not affect the push of Dignitas. There's the NATO.
So the NATO tried to make up for the Giant Skeleton moving past, didn't quite do it, saved some of that damage, but does not do what Misfits had hoped.
So now Misfits just behind by about 105 HP. Poison comes down to widen that gap just a little bit more from Dignitas.
Yeah, feeling confident they can put the pressure on. They do have another poison in case the graveyard comes in. Miner now going to the Ice Wiz, gets onto it perfectly.
Yeah, Miner to the Ice Wiz is a good play. There, and the Dark Prince comes down to catch the Miner.
And good, I mean, look, they're varying the defense now using the Baby Dragon and guards.
Yeah.
So this is very well played right now by Team Dignitas.
Lumberjack back in, hoping to rage up all the troops.
They double poisoned
and there
on
we
offense.
go. And you see Eddie and Blaze very, very happy with that, getting a game under their belts, but that's exactly how they started against Complexity.
Dignitas takes game number 1, and really a big part of that seems like it was the Giant Skeleton defense. Even though there wasn't a ton of damage there, it required a little bit extra effort from Misfits.
So Blaze and Eddie playing very, very well in game 1, 2 matches in a row, but the real question is, can they close out the set?
That swinging big piece of lumber over the head of Misfits looked somewhat precarious there. Now that we're in tight, you can't see it, but
were you worried for Baron's health again?
For a half second, I was worried. Lava Lava, top and bottom.
Prince coming down. Will we see guards? Will we see skellies? What will we see to stop it? And guards come down.
So an early poison to clean up the support troops.
A medium on that poison. They could have waited a half second, played it one tile over, and picked up both Baby Dragons, but, you know, hindsight is 20/20.
So you saw both the Skeletons and Ice Spirit come down for Dignitas in that moment in response to the Lumberjack. Wonder if that was intentional or if that was a miscommunication. They both responded reactively.
Mega Minion going to come here to clean up both those babies, and a Lumberjack will go down very quickly to rage up the rest of the troops coming across.
And again, that was Prince and guards both in that situation, and now nothing to pick up the Miner to the back. So again, the communication here maybe just a little bit off between Blaze and Eddie in the second game.
And we're seeing a good amount of damage coming in, about 1,000 damage coming in from that push from Misfits, Baron, and Loei.
You know, these guys have the benefit of being able to talk to each other because they're on comms. Nothing more annoying than when you're playing 2v2 online without comms and someone throws in maybe a Goblin Barrel or a Goblin Gang on the lane, and then you and your teammate both log.
Yeah, you and I have definitely decided to never play 2v2 unless we're in the same room. And I'm curious what Eddie had to say to Blaze there a couple seconds ago. He kind of looked over, smirked, and said something. Must still be feeling pretty good about the push that they're about to put together, but Misfits has a Inferno Tower in the way, completely halting that push.
At the same time, they now have Dignitas down to 1068. Lumberjack coming down really, really early.
And I'm a big fan of that zoom in at the bridge, Rich. Being able to see all the micro interactions that are happening there helps better understand the game and the order of operations in which things go down and how these pros play.
Lightning tries to clean up the defensive troops, but doesn't quite do its job. Still down to 779 is the left-hand tower of Dignitas, and now they're putting a push of their own.
Lumberjack comes down to catch the Prince, met by guards on the other side. Again, a big battle at the bridge. And a Lumberjack in the, or excuse me, a Miner in the back in the wrong lane played by Dignitas. This is exactly what we were talking about. Mental mistakes, communication errors, experience outweighing the excitement that a newcomer has. You cannot be making plays like that in these situations.
And there we go, a good pickup on that Miner, but the poison will help clean up. Still going to eat a lot more damage than they want, and now getting to the point where we're going to be in spell cycle range. Baron and Lowi close to tying this up at 2-2.
And that was a very, very lucky tick of the poison to pop all of the lava pups as they spawn.
So now a defensive Miner.
Offensive poison comes in for Misfits. And this push should do it. Down below 226 HP, and wow, tower just drops just like that.
So similar story to what we saw last time that Blaze and A took the stage. You know, they play really well in game number 1, game number 2, not quite as well. The question is, can they bounce back in game number 3 and buckle things down? Or will Baron and Lowi, both who've been on the stage a whole lot more, not dealing with as many nerves, will they be able to buckle it down themselves and take this into King of the Hill with the advantage?
So once again, Lava's meeting at the river here in just a moment, followed by a baby dragon from Dignitas and a Mega Minion from Misfits.
And that lava worked out way better for Dignitas, getting it on the outside so it does not pull to the Inferno Tower.
You see all the baby dragons on the board. A decent amount of units right there for Dignitas crossing the river. You got to think Misfits has an answer. There we are. Defensive Miner coming in a little late.
First minute down, and Dig out to a lead, 19-19 left-hand lane. So far, things working out in their favor, and they do have a significant Elixir lead as well.
Baron there grimacing maybe with annoyance or maybe pain from his foot, but something's going on.
And now double lavaing. Again, we've talked about this a lot. We don't love the double lava play. 14 Elixir right at the bridge.
Miner does come in at a great time. It is taking the shots from the Princess Tower instead of the Lava Hound.
And there's some Rage poison down. Look at the Ice Wizard as well. And
look
the
at
defense,
the damage.
This is wild. The defense also took care of the Lava Hound in the opposite direction.
Below 500 HP, below 400 HP on Misfits Tower.
All right, color me wrong. Double lava, go for it.
Yeah, that worked out very, very well for Blaze and Eddie.
Final minute, and at this stage, Blaze and Eddie can just play defense, maybe pressure the opposite lane a little bit, and then spell out that left-hand tower.
Yeah, and Misfits now opting to switch lanes, hoping to distract Dignitas' push on the left. Actually, those guards will get to the tower. A big connection from those guards. Now within one spell away from a tower falling. Dignitas does not need to focus at all on it anymore. Oh, wow.
I don't love that Miner on the left-hand lane.
I don't either.
33 seconds left. They need to play defense here.
And honestly, Dignitas is going to take this set, but they got away with one. If they were playing a 2v2 duo that could have capitalized a little bit more on their mistakes, they would not be walking away with this set win. However, that does not discount the plays that they've had in games 1 and in games 3.
Dig will hold on to get the win. Congratulations, Eddie and Blaze, for getting a good one here. Heading into King of the Hill with the advantage.
Eddie and Blaze, congratulations, taking that 2v2 set, getting their first 2v2 set win under their belts over Misfits. King of the Hill up next, Rich.
Heading into King of the Hill, opening up for Misfits, Trainer Chris making his 4th appearance of the season up against Oxalate.
Yeah, Trainer Chris still looking for his first win of the season. Struggled a bit in King of the Hill so far, falling to Javi, 14, Wen, and the God RF. And honestly, the 3 of those gentlemen have been on runs. So Trainer Chris has a great moment to prove himself.
And Oxalate opened up the season with that big King of the Hill sweep. Since then, has gone 1-4 in our mid-game set.
I just saw what you were talking about with the swinging log over his head.
Right, it's quite
Don't
disturbing.
worry, everyone at home. We take care of our players here. That log is held up with a really strong fishing line.
There we go. Now we're seeing it. Thank you very much to the booth, showing us the log of Damocles hanging over the head of Trainer Chris.
And also showing everyone at home that we're not crazy people.
No, we are not. Royal Giant at the bridge.
Met with a Lumberjack. Great response there.
Yeah, very aggressive play, but with the lava behind, trying to take advantage of the elixir difference.
That Lumberjack will still get to tower.
Yeah, I mean, that Lumberjack just in and of itself is a big rip for Oxalate top to bottom.
Yeah. An incredible 4 elixir spent there by Trainer Chris, getting 4 hits on the tower as well, and still a big push in the right-hand lane. Cleaned up pretty well by that snowball.
Not only is that Lumberjack a great counter for Royal Giant, but at only 4 elixir, it means that Trainer Chris can play that lava at 10, and he'll have a counter to the Royal Giant ready to go.
Exactly. And once we get in double elixir time, he will easily be able to get to the Tombstone and the Lumberjack. And if we're thinking all this, you know Oxalate is thinking all of it as well and figuring out how to get around it.
Trainer Chris minoring in, or lavaing into the lane that Oxalate wants to play.
Usually they always say you play the stronger or heavier tank into your opponent's weaker tank. So if Oxalate were to have a Golem, he would want to play it right into the Lava Hound. And if that was the case, Trainer Chris would want to play the Lava opposite lane. And now since he does have the... Oh, wow. A lot of damage in on that tower.
Yeah, the defensive lightning worked out well, but couldn't stave off a lot of that damage. The miner came onto the Musketeer. And right now, Oxalate getting ready to maybe mount a counter push.
Yeah, big push coming in right now. Needs to get that Musketeer down. Does. Protects the that saves the Lumberjack from going down, which can still get in on the Royal Giant. Lumberjack 2 tower.
That was quite a lot of damage, though. Trainer Chris down to 1,200 at this stage. And Oxalate forced to play a defensive Royal Giant. Not really the idea.
No.
Maybe hoping to soak up some damage.
That miner is right there to distract the Mega Minion a little bit, getting a few of those pups on the tower. Now taking that tower below 300 HP with this poison.
Yeah, that was just a really rough sequence all the way around for Oxalate. Now Trainer Chris just play a little bit of defense. I don't know if Oxalate will be able to get all the way to tower. The Tombstone should come to the inside right after this Lumberjack. There you go.
There it is. And that is going to be a GG. Trainer Chris finally getting his first CRL win in 2019.
Poison finishes things off. Trainer Chris takes out Oxalate, and you know, you see the look on Oxalate's face. He really wishes he could have that one back.
Yeah, because, you know, Trainer Chris definitely played very well that game. Oxalate lost that game by his plays, 100%.
So coming up next, it's Eddie against Trainer Chris. Chris just played Lava. Eddie plays a whole lot of Lava. What might we see in our second game?
I really, truly believe Eddie needs to switch it up. I think that it would be a huge detriment to the team if he just plays Lava again. And now seeing Furnace as the first card out, it does seem he has got the message.
He has played the RG Furnace variation with Barbarians so far. Miner for Trainer Chris and unanswered from Eddie.
Yep. And you know, that's not a slight on Eddie because I know how hard it can be to master these decks against these other pros. The problem is that they are pros. And if you keep playing the same deck, they will just straight up counter you, as you saw happen to Lapacati earlier, as you saw happen to Carnage.
So maybe Eddie here playing a Miner Balloon with Furnace. We've seen that before. Not impossible, although Poison makes it less likely.
A nice Ice Spirit there, a great Ice Spirit to mitigate a lot of the damage from that Miner, however, giving great snowball value as well to Trainer Chris.
Trainer Chris was cycling Rascals in the back, playing defense on both sides. And that Fire Spirit doesn't quite get there.
Yeah, Balloon coming in right behind this Rascal. Miner to the Rascal Girl, trying to tank a little bit for these Fire Spirits.
And that's some decent damage from that Fire Spirit, but that Balloon, Giant Snowball just in time. Death damage will get there, but saves the much, much worse drop.
Yeah, you saw Trainer Chris thinking he was gonna get away with one, but that last second Snowball from Eddie stops the big drop.
So entering double elixir time, things still pretty close.
Trainer Chris really not happy with how much damage that Miner is getting in on his right-hand tower.
So a very interesting Miner control construction coming from Eddie.
Maybe still holding the E-Wiz to play up high, yep. Trying to get that Rascal Girl out of play, however,
but the E-Wiz distracted.
Oh, and he still stops the big drop. And with a very healthy P.E.K.K.A in the left-hand lane, we get the kite with the Ice Golem. Well played from Trainer Chris.
That kite does take that P.E.K.K.A, though, over to the weak side. So wonder if Eddie can do something with that P.E.K.K.A now that it's on that side of the tower he's trying to aim for.
Yeah, those skeletons will end that story right away. Miner into the left-hand tower with the Barbarian. Gonna take it down below 1100 HP.
Miner to the safe spot.
He does block one hit with the Ice Golem, but that Poison and Miner combo is just devastating the left and right-hand side.
So E-Wiz coming in, though. The Miner and the Barbarian both in front. Furnace does take one shot. Second Furnace will take the second shot. Miner on that tower, down under 400.
And you saw the early snowball coming from Eddie. Now the death damage should get there. 59 HP on the tower. 2 Miner hits is all it's gonna take. Or I mean, excuse me, 1 Miner hit. Wow. Trainer Chris doing it again. Now 2 and 3 in King of the Hill.
2 down so far at the hands of Trainer Chris, and he is 1 win away from taking a King of the Hill sweep.
Yeah, Frost 3 and 3 in King of the Hill this year, 3 and 4 in the last season. Having a lot of high moments and low moments in this set specifically.
Frost has played some bridge spam, some Golem, and some Hog EQ so far this season.
And Frost needs to take down Trainer Chris, Wings, and Baron in order to take this match in the second set. So a big hill to climb.
They still do have the 1v1 set if it does not go Frost's way, but first up, 3 potential games in our King of the Hill. Dark Prince. You know, Andrew, he really is everywhere. I ordered Domino's the other day, and it was delivered by a Dark Prince.
You do more in a week and run into more characters than I do in my whole life.
Oh, man, you gotta live. Get living while the living is good.
And the snowball there does allow 1 Hunter shotgun shot to come in.
So Frost probably will Sparky up pretty soon.
Trainer Chris playing some sort of beatdown deck. Now wasted 13.5 elixir.
Frost taking his time as well.
You see once again, Trainer Chris just not pulling the trigger on any units, and now a Golem comes down. So this deck is a very, very popular archetype in the meta now with the NATO, the Lightning usually. Sometimes you'll see Skeletons in there to
Is
help
this the one that you're
cycle.
always complaining about?
It's close to it. The other one has Prince in it instead of Dark Prince, but I like the Dark Prince being subbed in. You see a Lightning coming down from Frost. Honestly, I'd say it's been about 50-50 with the Prince and the Dark Prince.
So Frost ahead by quite a bit. He does have 2 different tank killers in his deck with the Hunter and the Sparky.
Yeah.
You see Frost shaking his hand out. He did deal with Carpal Tunnel a fair bit last season. Said it was all fixed up this season, but don't like seeing him shake out that right hand.
Yeah, that's not something you want to see. Could just be those frozen fingers that he goes, what he used to say, when his hands go numb, he plays out of his mind. Now, finding out that was Carpal Tunnel kind of takes away from the joke a little bit, but...
Well, but we weren't wrong.
Yeah. Goblin Giant on the tower. A lot to deal with, though, coming down this lane behind the Golem. Honestly feels like too much to deal with, but he does recover.
Eats 3 unfortunate Lumberjack shots, so now Trainer Chris takes the lead as we move into sudden death.
Trainer Chris able to Golem back up, knowing that he was at a massive Elixir lead. This Hunter is basically ignorable because it will walk into Princess Tower range.
And uses the Baby Dragon to turn the Hunter away from the Golem and force the defense to be played by the Sparky.
Baby Dragon gets in front of the Golem. It felt like that Baby Dragon was dropped just 1 tile too high. Golem gets through.
Wow. Wow, Trainer Chris is about to do it.
That is going to do very close.
Not quite there. Do you have a snowball, Chris? Probably not.
Goblin Giant coming in for a last-ditch effort from Frost, followed with a Dark Prince and Mega Minion looking to take this tower. Not going to be enough, though. Lightning comes down.
Wow, so Frost in a place where, and that's gonna be hard. How is he gonna get past this Golem? Is he gonna be able to hold this Golem off? Sparky not available.
Oh.
Too much Elixir.
And that
will.
Oh, he gets the big death damage off the tower. Lightning comes in, will do it. Frost goes down, 3 up, 3 down for Trainer Chris. Talk about a way to show up and get your first, second, and third wins.
So now who do they put into the 1v1 set? Who do they bring out there? You know, they have 2 possibilities. Will it be Frost or will it be Oxalate? So heading into 1v1, a lot of questions to ask, of course, on the side of Dignitas. Will it be Frost or Oxalate coming out to play? And then on the side of Misfits, you do have the option of going Chris one more time, but it's looking like, I see in the monitor there, it's going to be Wings in the tower.
Yeah, Wings and Frost, and despite Wings' great success in King of the Hill last season, 11-3, he was only 2-5 in 1v1 sets. So we will see how his King of the Hill success this season will translate over to the 1v1 set. Currently 1-2 in games, and Frost making his 1v1 debut.
I gotta expect that Frost is happy to be getting back out there. He seemed really frustrated with that King of the Hill game, and you know, something about Clash Royale is, for some people, you really need to have a few games and be in rhythm to start playing well.
Yeah.
Some people play really well cold, which is why Wings has been so great in King of the Hill.
Yeah, one of those things about Wings, you knew he was going to come out if we got to the 1v1 set. And, you know, King of the Hill is a place he's really succeeded this season and last. Hopefully for him and his team, he will be changing up the story with his 1v1 set record. Frost, on the other hand, for Dignitas, you know, they came out, they did really great in that first set, back against the wall in the whole entire King of the Hill set, and it's never feels good to lose or win the first set and then find yourself really scraping from behind in the third.
So a very high Goblin Giant to open up, does not get to tower, a little bit of a risky expenditure there by Frost, but he is still ahead on Elixir.
Gets the Dark Prince pulled to opposite lane. Looks like he's just going to be running it back, Rich.
Does look like that. And NATO does get the Dark Prince, the King Tower. Nice activation for Wings.
You can see Wings there kind of shifting in relief, recognizing that almost did not make it.
So Wings does have some good cheap options for that Sparky, in particular those Skeletons for a reset.
Yeah, Skeleton Surround is a excellent positive elixir trade for taking down the Sparky. Lightning comes in. And then Lightning in turn, but no Elixir in hand. Wings kind of looks over going, huh, really?
A few Baby Dragon belches aren't going to even things up, but we'll take off some of Frost's right-hand tower as we move into double Elixir time.
Most likely going to be a golem at the bottom of your screen.
There you go.
Prince up high, ideally, to catch that Goblin Giant, but you don't want it. Yeah, I was going to say, you do want to keep it behind your Golem, however.
And waiting for those Spear Goblins to get on tower before dropping the Skeletons and the DPS.
No Lightning in yet, waiting for that shield to probably come off the Dark Prince, and now it's not going to be in time.
So there you go, the Golem push completely stopped. And now with 30 seconds left, Frost in a pretty good spot to take game number 1.
Yeah, 781 HP on that bottom right tower. A very healthy Goblin Giant making its way. That Lightning changed that tune really quickly. Prince comes in and stops, mitigates all the damage. Very well played by Wings.
So heading into sudden death, it is Frost in the lead, but Wings doing a good job so far of not letting Frost get off those final few shots.
Goes for the high Golem. Bar Barrel goes in. Not the best Bar Barrel there from Wings. Not going to do the things that he wanted.
And NATO just barely saves that Goblin Giant from getting on tower. That's a lot of value from the Sparky.
Yeah, it's just wreaking havoc right now.
And nice play of the Giant Snowball to stop that Prince from popping the Hunter.
781 HP remains. Here's the tough thing for Frost is he cannot spell cycle out at this moment, because if he ever spends that 6 elixir without getting a ton of value, all of a sudden there will be a massive Golem push in his face, and we've all lost to Golem when we overcommit in the final seconds of a match.
And that's why you see Wings playing pretty high right now, just not giving Frost the opportunity to get that tower damage.
Yep. Big time Lightning coming in for Wings.
Dark Prince making a charge, and it just barely does not get on tower.
Wings knows he got away with one there. Golem played another couple tiles higher than even last time.
And completely splitting all that Goblin Giant damage. A Lightning does come in this time, down to 328.
Now he can snowball Lightning, but can he get back around to it in time? Prince comes down, or Dark Prince comes down to stop the Prince. Very well played by Frost, and Frost will take game number 1 in this 1v1 set from Wings.
Snowball comes down, Lightning comes down, Frost takes the lead. Very well played, young man. You know what? I see the hands. Yep. I'm wondering if the power is back.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Let's see if he's still got it going into game number 2.
So Dignitas 1 win away from doing something they haven't done since the first game of the season, taking a match victory. Wings stands between them and that celebration.
And this is a really big moment for Frost. He hasn't really had a great chance to shine yet this season. And taking down Wings, who has been doing so well, and getting that second victory for their team is everything that they need at this moment.
So Frost puts Ewiz in the back to counter the Baby Dragon.
And you see Wings there just leaking Elixir, immediately letting us know he's probably going for some sort of beatdown once again. Frost happy to do the same.
Frost waiting, seeing what Wings wants to do, so we might be playing the full dance. Unless someone decides to go for something big early on. We're going to come back with the action here at 1 minute and 5 seconds left in the round.
I had 2 cupcakes for lunch today.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah.
I saw. That's quite a number.
It's also, I figured out that red velvet is just chocolate dyed red, so I've been lied to my whole life.
Sure. That does sound like a lie people would say.
I'm broken up about it.
I know. I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your heart. And, you know, if there's one thing I can tell you, it's that lemon meringue does taste kind of like lemons.
Oh, you were saying you hadn't seen Endgame yet, so you have
Do
no
not-
idea.
don't you
Okay,
dare.
all right.
I did see the finale of Game of Thrones finally, though, so no spoilers for me there. I'm good.
Yeah.
I was so shocked when I found out that Peter Baelish was still alive.
I
watched the right show, didn't I?
I believe that is incorrect, but I actually have never seen an episode of Game of Thrones.
Back to the action. Here we go, and there you go. It's Golem behind the tower for Frost. And the same thing for Wings.
Going same lane. Now, one thing that you have to keep in mind is since they're both played on the inside, they are nadeable to King Tower. The next exchange, one of them will probably play on the outside where you just saw that Dark Prince drop by Wings.
And looks like Frost does have the outside track. So that Golem pushed more toward the inside.
Yep. And Frost not even going to opt to even try to Lightning. Or NATO, excuse me. Lightning came down, clearing the path there for a moment for Wings.
And a nice snowball, so no tornado for Frost.
There we go, resetting with Golems. Will Frost go outside? I think he's just going to commit to defense and then in turn try to play a Golem up high. Oh no.
This Golem deck so far is 2-2 on the season. So we'll see if Frost can add one more across from the slightly more common variation played by Wings that most of you probably encounter on a fairly regular basis.
Yep. We'll see a nice Lightning coming down for Frost this time. And Frost has won both these exchanges. Now Wings Tower below 1600 HP, Frost just below 2000.
These are the two most popular Golem variations played this season.
And I hate both of them, Rich.
Yeah? Yeah, well, you and I are in the same boat. So Wings might be pushing this Golem enough to the inside.
Still doesn't go for the King Tower activation, opting to kind of double down on defense and create a big counter push here. And that is a risky move. He's going all in now.
And Lightning on those supporting troops. So with the tower down to 978 and it'll keep going down, he still doesn't quite have what he needs to finish off this tower.
And here's a moment where you might see a high Golem from Frost. There we go.
There you go.
That is the plan. Try to get it up high. However, Lumberjack, Baby Dragon, Mega Minion, and NATO going to make it very, very tough to get to the tower.
And we heard some of the players who are hanging out to watch all ooh when they saw that high Golem.
Yeah. And one does burst on the tower, taking it down to 517 HP.
Bar barrel in, doing a little bit of damage and turning, keeping that E-Wiz. And that Golem just a half step too late.
And that might be the moment. That could be the turning point in this game. We will have to wait and see, but that is a lot of healthy units coming down the lane for Wings.
And forced to burn an E-Wiz just to keep that stuff off tower. So now, high Golem, raged up, opposite direction. Prince, not going to be enough. That Golem is going to get to tower.
Oh, and the NATO pulls the Prince away, but it does allow it to charge in. No NATO from Frost, and that is going to do it. One to Dignitas, one to Misfits. Here comes our final game. So let me just make a very quick correction. This can draw, Rich. This can draw and go to a game 4. Which is, I'm pretty sure, the last thing in the world that both of these gentlemen want.
And I'm pretty sure it's the #1 thing that will happen. The way things have been going so far, I'm saying it, we're going to game 4.
You're welcome, production team.
You are welcome.
A cycled bar barrel would have been nice to do that a half second later towards the furnace.
So, unlikely Wings going way off meta with this Furnace play. There you go,
Yep.
RG Furnace.
And Frost looks like he's running it back. He wants to get another shot at that Golem deck. Or what looks like that Golem deck at this moment.
Certainly does. Certainly does, and he then would also have Lightning.
Yep. And he goes for the aggressive Golem, knowing that the best way to punish him is out of cycle, and the Lightning is out of cycle as well, so he can't just, or Wings can't just lightning all of his support troops.
Yeah, this is a really good moment. If you're going to play a Golem in single elixir, not a bad time to do it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's all about the support, though. Mega Minion comes in to take out the Baby Dragon. Another Mega Minion comes down. I do not like that lightning, and neither did Frost. You saw him immediately look up like, I shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have pulled the trigger.
So he got a lot of damage in the tower.
He did.
But now he has a ton coming down the opposite lane and not a lot of elixir to deal with it.
Yeah, and here's the thing, is he's going to defend it very well. But had he played that interaction a little better, he probably would have taken the tower instead of leaving it at 1,500 HP.
Yeah, and you see now he's behind by about 3.5 to 4 elixir. Wings playing very well last game, playing very well this game.
Prince comes down immediately to meet that Royal Giant. No buildings in hand for Frost.
And now Wings takes the lead. And this is a big push coming from the Misfits player, cleaned up by the Lightning.
Still down about a half of an elixir. Gonna have to try to find a way to play stout defense for cheap so that he can get another Golem down. And Wings knows this, so he does not want to drop his RG in front of these troops.
Yeah, I'm wondering if at some point Wings, either he waits for the Golem and goes hard opposite lane when it happens, or if he just cycles Golem early. He doesn't really want to meet that Golem at the bridge with his Royal Giant. That's a frustrating proposition.
Yep. There's the Royal Giant.
There we go.
Not enough elixir in hand for the Golem and needing to respond immediately. That Royal Giant is going to get a few shots in, though.
Those are big shots, and there you go. Lightning, plenty of elixir for Wings to respond, and a very high Golem from Frost.
Once again, not getting in front of its DPS troops.
Lightning coming in.
Lightning down, trying to sell out, get to tower. 872 will get death damage in. Will it get a swing? A big swing.
Huge,
a big death damage
swing.
And this is the moment for Frost to put it away for Dignitas.
Wow, Frost needs to get back to a Lightning, but this RG could take it in time.
Nothing there to stop the RG. One shot in the lane.
Wow! We have it! Frost gets back to his Lightning. Wings cannot believe it. Dignitas just took out Misfits.
A huge, huge finish for Frost, and you saw that sellout last-ditch effort to get the Golem down the lane, and what a celebration from the boys in yellow and black. It's got to feel good to get that second W under your belt.
Really, really surprising for Misfits to be at this point, at this stage in the season, but the big story here is Frost struggling in that King of the Hill game, coming back around and getting the win for his squad in that reverse sweep in 1v1.
Just unbelievable plays. Trainer Chris showed up for Misfits. He sure did. He took this to the third set. It looked like Dignitas did not have any responses. Frost goes down in the final game of King of the Hill, and what does he do? I want to get back out there, coach. Put me in, coach, and it pays off in spades.
Very, very nice work. And of course, it all started with the 2v2 of Eddie and Blaze, taking that off of Baron and Loweye in a best of 3 and setting themselves up so that they had that cushion in King of the Hill and giving Frost the opportunity to come in here and clean things out in the third and final set.
This match is huge for Dignitas. I think we're going to see a brand new team the next match that they have.
Very, very possible. And we saw a big performance. And we talked about Blaze. I mean, we talked about Frost being maybe a player who's better when he's in rhythm, getting multiple games.
Yeah.
And we saw that here. So let's go down to the floor where Pau is standing by with our winners.
Thanks, guys. All right, Frost, congratulations. I have to ask you, you know, you guys got swept with Trainer Chris. Did you ask your coach to be part of that 1v1?
Yeah, so definitely Trainer Chris played really well and caught us kind of off guard with his deck choices. So I definitely asked PT to come up there and hype me back up, you know, boost my confidence. It's something he's really good at,
So talk to me about those final nail-biting moments. I know that was crazy. You want to walk me through that?
Yeah, so I knew that I couldn't goal him in the back because he would punish with RG at the bridge and just take my tower and would probably be able to stall out until the end of the game. So I knew that I had to set up a Prince first, which is why I was kind of awkwardly cycling things in the back like my skeletons. It was really close. I knew I couldn't defend his last RG, so I knew I just had to get back to the Lightning and ended up getting back to it. So it feels really good to win that.
Now, I know you're representing here Team Dignitas. Anything you'd like to say to your community?
Dig win, baby.
Well, there it is. Well, to break down that gameplay, we're going to send it over to the desk.
Hashtag dig win is about all needs to be said there.
Yeah.
You know, Blaze and Eddie, top of the show, getting the 2v2 done. Of course, don't forget Trainer Chris with a great sweep in the middle. But then Frost wrapping things up at the end for the second win for Dignitas. So well played, GG's, boys. But we are not done yet. One more match for the day. Let's get into it. Queso facing off against SK. And we've made it all the way to our last match of the day. And it's a match, of course, with big-time players, but also big-time relationships. Of course, Soking, the star of Queso, who grew up, essentially, with Team Queso, now in the gray with SK.
Yeah, and both these teams are really, really fighting to move up in the standings. You know, Queso's in 8th place, SK's in 9th place, both of them with negative records, with some of the most famous players, most talented players in the world. This is a big-time match.
Very surprising results so far from both these squads. You know, of course, with Queso, you expect with the staff behind them, no matter who puts on that uniform, who wears the cheese, if you want to say it that way, that they are able to come out and play well. Of course, they have made some good corrections thus far. And then, of course, SK bringing out arguably one of the 2 most stacked lineups in terms of big names in the game for this season, has not quite produced the results that you'd expect.
Yeah, I mean, every single person on SK's roster is one of the most famous players in the game, if not the most famous from their respective country. And on the other side of it, Team Queso is one of the most respected organizations in all of esports. So with Team Queso today, we've got Kuchiku, Benny, Dark Angels, and Azealis, of course, their coach Tervisma joining them. And as I said, 2 and 3 and in 8th place. This is a massive, massive match. And also with Soking saying goodbye, they want to send him off the right way.
And look, they've made some good adjustments, and that's when Team Queso's at their best, switching things up. And of course, making some adjustments potentially here is SK Gaming with the CCGS World Champion Sergio Ramos, the mad scientist OP Sam, Soking, and Morten.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious to see if they might make a couple more adjustments here. They do have another option for 2v2 and the 2 Spanish-speaking players. We'll see if they go that direction today. It's going to be Sergio Ramos and Soking facing off against Queso. So coming out in a 2v2 for Team Queso, it is Azealis and Benny, who, as you mentioned, Andrew, Azealis really has found a home for himself in this opening set.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he was 1 and 2 in King of the Hill and kind of struggled a little bit in head-to-head play. But in the 2v2 set, he has now found himself as a specialist. 4-0 in games is a very difficult thing to pull off, especially over a team like Energy.
So Sergio Ramos making his 2nd appearance at CRL West, and I do like the idea of getting him into the mix in 2v2. Taking a little bit of the pressure off of performing in head-to-head cold.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's really, really important to make sure to take care of the mental state of your players. And again, there is so much pressure on this stage. And this talent this year is absolutely off the charts. So you've got to make sure your superstars are comfortable.
So first graveyard push down for SK Gaming. Does a little bit of damage, but not a ton. 1 minute away in our opening game.
Once again, Baby Dragons galore. Baby Dragon on the tower. That will get Belches in. Mega Minion comes down a second late.
And Team Queso takes the first big bite out of a tower, down to 1934.
Great skeletons there to slow down that Mega Minions interaction.
Dark Prince behind. Aggressive graveyard push here from Team Queso.
Yeah, usually going super aggressive with graveyards when you're playing 1v1 is highly, highly unprecedented, usually not a good move. But in 2v2, you have another person's 10 elixir to play defense, which is very, very important.
And look at the timing on that freeze. It stops the Inferno Tower just 1 tick before it took out that Musketeer.
Yeah, very nice use of their freeze. Baby Dragon Belch does get in about 130 HP, separating these two teams. You see both teams using the skeletons as a cycle card, great distraction card as well.
Yeah, just a way to sort of at least reset some of these charging troops. Keep them away from that Inferno Tower a little bit longer. This time the Inferno Tower not getting really any valuable target, although we do get a King Tower activation. That's good news for SK.
Yeah, one small skeleton there running over and hitting that King Tower is going to really help with defending those graveyards.
Dark Prince Musketeer behind for Team Queso. Really trying to keep the pressure on right now. Let's see if SK can defend their Musketeer high once more.
And I like the timing of that skeleton being dropped in the back. You're going to see it's going to make its way to the river right now as all the DPS troops are standing and about to cross.
So Icewiz finally gets onto SK's Musketeer, but again, lots of value. And so far, that's 2 Musketeers who've been on the board quite a long time for the guys in gray.
That Musketeer is standing right where a freeze would come down.
And good job not to, that's a really risky freeze, so the Musketeer is so close to the King Tower.
Bomb goes up and cleans up everything. That is the most valuable part of a giant skeleton. So far, the communication between Sergio and Soaking seem to be working well, despite this being their very first appearance together on stage.
You gotta wonder how much time they've spent together in terms of 2v2 practice, with Sergio joining the team very, very late, just before our season kicked off.
Yeah, maybe that's why we're not actually seeing them as a duo until week 3. And now you see the Freeze is forced to hit the King Tower as well as the Princess Tower, kind of having to avoid the units around it.
So here we are, over a minute into sudden death overtime, and still the team's pretty much neck and neck.
Yeah, 30 HP is pretty negligible. Although we've seen games decided by 10 HP, so.
We've seen it get pretty tight.
Poison comes down to defend the graveyard.
And they almost escape with no damage. One skeleton does get through.
Yeah, that's the thing about the way those skellies spawn is even with the ticks of the graveyard, if one spawns right after a tick happens on the tower, it will get a couple hits in. As you see here again, I think 1 hit landed on the Princess Tower of SK.
1 minute remains in this opening game.
And just to remind you at home, this game is able for a draw to be happening. And you see that forced Baby Dragon, the NATO, so that it did not get a bunch of splash damage down on the tower of Team Queso.
And both these decks simply have too much defensive capability. You would need to capitalize on a mistake really to break through, it feels.
Yeah, I mean, with both teams running double graveyard, you see poisons in both teams' hands, and then so many splash units. And again, the freeze can be used defensively against a graveyard that's wreaking havoc on your tower. It will kill all those skellies. So, as you just said, Rich, this is most likely going to be a draw due to that factor.
Final 10 seconds. A perfunctory tornado poison there at the end, but that is going to be it. We will be heading for a draw on our way into game number 2.
And as we were saying during that game, you know, when you get double graveyard against double graveyard, both teams are holding poison, both teams are holding freeze, and a ton of splash units. We've now seen a couple draws with that archetype.
It seemed like for a minute there that Queso could have broken through. It was that King Tower activation that really put the kibosh on that.
Yeah, definitely. You know, once that King Tower is activated, it makes your graveyard so much less effective.
Dark Prince meets
Spl
his golden brother.
Yeah, but getting some splash damage in there. A couple big hits.
Just a little late there with that pickup.
Miner into tank for the Skelly Barrel.
And I believe that was one skeleton got a shot on, so firing back a bit here is SK.
Team Queso doing a great job there, being able to defend without having to spend a spell.
Wow, a lot of damage got in before that poison did its job.
Giant Skeleton tanking for those Skellies just a little bit. 1900 HP on that bottom left tower.
We've seen the Skeleton Barrel a little bit in 2v2. Of course, we saw that Skelly Barrel bait deck the other day. That was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I really like when teams use bait in 2v2 now. It can be shut down really quickly sometimes, depending on how many spells your opponent has. But if they don't have the proper or the adequate response, those bait decks can be brutal to keep up with.
2v2 is just so splashy right now.
Yeah. Again, you know, we see at least 2 Baby Dragons on the field, both on the side of Queso at the moment.
As we pass the 90-second mark, it is still Team Queso in the lead.
And NATO, that was a bit unnecessary.
And SK a little low on Elixir right now. You can see the choice is a Miner coming in to play defense against a Graveyard.
Yep, and just a few Skelly hits in there, but, you know, now below 1,000 HP is SK's left-hand tower.
It's just going to be really hard for them to get a good Skeleton Barrel push on that tower.
Yeah, and they're not able to get spell value because they have to hold their poison for defense. So now they've got a very, very minimal offensive presence.
And there you go, offensive poison down now, going to be just at 405, under 400 HP. At this point, this is Team Queso's game to lose.
Yeah, it feels almost impossible for SK to bounce back now. We've seen Giant Skeletons get to towers. This one's not even across the river. And that tower, 378 HP, is very close to spell cycle range. You see the first log coming down now. It is within spell range. And we call this a last-ditch effort on the right-hand side.
Going all the way in, but looks like it will not be enough. Poison down. Team Queso taking game number 2.
And you saw that combination in the bottom right of the Giant Skeleton with the Tornado completely cleaning up that push. Nothing in the tank for SK.
You're right, Andrew. Just unable to get anything going in that game was SK, and Team Queso playing really, really, really clean defense. And on top of that, forcing SK, as you mentioned, to hold their spells on defense for themselves and not able to really ever get a flow.
Yeah, because they needed to get some poison value on that tower to take down some of the defensive troops from Queso, but having to hold the poison, being down on Elixir, there was just no way for them to mount any sort of offensive presence. And you got to credit Team Queso to just doing a great job of keeping them on their heels.
So now it looks like Soaking and Sergio Ramos going back to basics.
Yeah.
And it's RG for Team Queso.
NATO coming in a little early, but just to group everything together for that Baby Dragon.
And Baby Dragon on the bottom left-hand tower getting a lot of belches completely unanswered. That is a fully healthy Baby Dragon getting down to 1869.
And you look in the hand of Queso, they've essentially got 17 Elixir that they could have spent. Now getting bats in on this push, trying to just mount a big presence on the right-hand lane.
Fireball comes in.
That is a value Fireball and a half, and a Raged Up Royal Giant.
And another barb. 2 Elixir spent to clean up that support.
And that's what happens when you get such good value off of your Fireball. But look at this Graveyard. Again, Team Queso kind of playing loose defense, and they are paying for it.
Yeah, that's 2 exchanges that feel like they should not have been as heavy damage for SK Gaming, but Team Queso letting the Baby Dragon go early, and then that Graveyard Poison push just shredding the right-hand tower of the cheesy ones.
Yeah, and, you know, Team Queso does really not want to go to Game 4. They want to send this away right now. If SK takes this or draws it again, they're going to find themselves in a Game 4 lowest tower situation. And that's not the way you want to be playing if you have such a dominant showing in game number 2.
So SK throwing the Giant Skeleton. It does pick up the Princess Tower. Another Graveyard down, Freeze down. Ice Wiz behind. Barb Barrel comes in to defend, but still a couple hundred HP damage.
Yeah, now below 700 HP. The bottom right-hand side is Team Queso.
and just not able to get those guards in front of the Royal Giant, playing them all the way on defense. They did not travel the distance in time.
Wow, but that raged up Royal Giant will take the tower with that fireball. Look at that. How quickly things can change when you have a raged up Royal Giant.
And this time, Bats and Baby Dragon down, and I don't know if Team Queso, so they do freeze. It's a little bit late. Skeletons doing their damage. Poison in, so
That will take the tower down with the log.
ooh, boy, you can see some communication, maybe some breaths of relief there from SK Gaming on that right-hand tower.
And I like the Lumberjack being played behind the Giant Skeleton on their exchange to keep it from crossing the river, but it was not enough. You see the Royal Giant here in the pocket, quickly cleaned up.
And now we're in a situation where SK Gaming does have a tower lead, but they're up against Royal Giant, and that's what I'm going to talk about. Royal Giant in the pocket is going to be so frustrating right now.
You know, when that nerf, or excuse me, when that buff slash nerf happened, you know, a ranged nerf, a damage buff, that was one of the first things you and I talked about last season at CRL was that Royal Giant in the pocket is going to be a devastating play that you have to keep your eyes out for if you are, in this case, SK Gaming.
And it was a good choice there to NATO it away, but the question is, can you continue to save your NATO just for that purpose?
Yeah, and if not, can you couple your log with your Ice Spirit to then somehow get it on the Inferno Tower? Just got to keep it off of that Princess Tower. Giant Skeleton in the pocket, trying to sneak in that death damage.
Freeze comes down, does not get the Lumberjack.
Below 1,300 HP in the bottom left-hand side, you see SK Gaming has now taken the lead.
SK NATOing back, but I don't know if they have. There we go. Inferno Tower gets in. Lightning to counter. Royal Giant, will it get a shot off?
Yes,
it
does.
does.
Look at that. A big shot.
So things slowing down for a moment as we get into the final 90 seconds. Both teams have taken heavy blows. Both teams have delivered in kind. Who can put the killing blow in the final minute 20?
Oh, and look at the timing on that Giant Skeleton. Must have been hovering, waiting for something to be dropped in the pocket. Does not preserve the HP or the life of that Ice Wizard, but still a great effort.
So Freeze comes down, does not get the defensive troops, does not get the Inferno Tower.
I would have maybe held that Freeze, knowing that the Giant Skeleton was going to go down as quickly as it did. However, if they are able to stop this push, then it won't really matter.
And there you go. Tornado does keep the Royal Giant off tower, but they have to deal with two Royal Giants, though.
But twice as much Elixir in the hand of Queso, spending a lot on that defense. Ooh, and I like that NATO. Ice Wizard will go down. Look at the health on that RG.
Down to 499, 449,
oh, that's
195. That's
it.
it. Team Queso sews up 2v2 with some slick play there in the final seconds.
Yeah, you saw in that last minute that SK was really far behind in Elixir, and Team Queso slowly took advantage of it to the point where SK was just completely overwhelmed.
2v2 goes to Queso. Let's head into King of the Hill.
And now with King of the Hill up, you see Dark Angel and OP Sam at the towers. Soaking most likely done for the day. Him and Sergio are not eligible to be playing in the 1v1 set if they do take King of the Hill, and Dark with an early mortar.
Early mortar, early high mortar, and hello Royal Giant.
Great placement there on the Dark Goblin. RG will get a few shots in.
Goblin Gang helps mitigate the damage. Counter push coming in with no Bar Barrel available, so Barbarian's coming down now for OP Sam. Sam was someone last year who used Barbarians. This is more than others, and this was before the rework.
Yep, he was using Barbarians and Barbarian Hut. And Sam this season has yet to find a King of the Hill victory, a head-to-head victory, whereas last season he was 6-1 in 1v1 sets and 7-2 overall in King of the Hill. So really struggling to find his rhythm so far this season at CRL.
So RG Furnace, Barbs Muskie for OP Sam, and Mortar Bait for Dark Angel.
You could say it a little happier, Rich.
Mortar Bait!
Yeah!
I am so excited.
Now you see OP Sam playing his Furnace a little lower or a little deeper, if you will, so that it is not in range of the Dark Goblin. Miner in to tank for those bats.
Prince does get away and is going to get one shot.
Nice little assist.
And wow!
Yeah, that is huge. The Goblin Gang there pushing the Prince quickly into range, allowing that lance hit in, and tanking for the Goblin spear and stab alike was a massive push and a beautiful, beautiful use of mechanics by Dark Angel.
So Sam eats a lot more than he probably expected. Mortarbait currently sitting at a 64.3 win rate overall in the season.
You see that lightning coming in, going to make easy work of the mortars that do come down. Kind of clearing a path for that Royal Giant.
High Muskie picks up the Miner. Royal Giant not coming down here. You see playing the low. So notice the placement of Sam's Furnace, keeping that out of mortar range. That's the idea. If he puts that too high, mortar will just easily take out that Furnace. So similar placement as you would maybe against an Expo as well.
Yep. Yeah, keeping out of range of the Dark Goblin initially, and then now the mortar as well being played that low. Mortar here going to tank for the Spear Goblin.
Lightning comes in, but it's not going to be enough. This is Dark Angel more likely than not taking the first game of King of the Hill. Does this Miner get on tower? Giant Snowball pushes it back,
but still
not able to pick it up.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
A last-minute, last-ditch effort to stay alive, but 41 HP, that will go down with the Snowball, and you just got to play some clean defense here.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
That's going to be it. Sam knows it. We know it. Dark Angel takes game number 1 of King of the Hill. So game number 2 brings out Sergio Ramos, making his second appearance in head-to-head play. So far between 2v2 and head-to-head has yet to find himself in the win column.
And that's a question you have to ask coaching at this point is, what's the idea behind keeping your only 2 players with head-to-head victories? One of them is not going to play in King of the Hill. There's only 1 spot left, and Morten and Soking are both still on the bench. So regardless of how this goes, one of their 2 1v1 specialists, one of the 2 guys that have actually taken a head-to-head victory will not be seen today. And in a position that you have to win, you wonder why that is.
Wow, that E is very, very well timed and doesn't quite get the Battle Ram all the way to tower, but it was a very, very nice idea out of Dark Angel.
Sergio Ramos leaking around 2 Elixir.
Some pretty standard looking bridge spam, although Inferno Dragon, a little bit of a left turn to the traffic light, as some say.
And the Mega Knight comes down in front.
First minute away and things still fairly close to even.
There's the poison to meet the Flying Machine. Mega Knight stopped in its tracks by the barbs. And that Flying Machine is just so pesky. It will get on the minions as well.
And just a little intelligence out of Sergio Ramos here. Wow. I mean, wow, and a lot of intelligence. Actually, take a look at that Flying Machine.
Preserving the health of your Flying Machine, I've said this so many times on broadcast, is just so important. That the mechanics behind the Flying Machine are insane. The range on it is insane. It's so hard to gauge where it actually is tile-wise on the map. And you see right there, Dark Angel really, really paying for that poison, not taking down the Flying Machine.
I was saying the intelligence there of Sergio Ramos to recognize that, you know, some people, even when they see a deck that internally they know doesn't have Tornado, they still keep going to the safe spot early on in the match when they're in regulation. And Sergio Ramos just going, look, I know it's not there. Let me break out of that mold and go with that opening Miner to not the safe spot.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself, Rich. You see right there, Dark Angel doubling down at the river, allowing that battle ramp to connect because those Barbarians were swarmed by the Mega Knight and the minions, but 6 Elixir on the left to defend a lot.
Wow, Miner gets on tower one more time, and even with that battle ramp connection for Dark Angel, Sergio Ramos has the young man in trouble.
Yeah, Sergio Ramos now has a big lead on both sides of the playing field. A defensive poison comes down for Sergio, trying to take care of the E-Wiz and the Inferno. The Bar Barrel comes down to keep the Inferno Dragon in the poison for as long as possible.
And takes out the Mega Knight mid-leap. I was worried there for a moment because Sergio Ramos, his other answers for a Mega Knight besides the Bar Barrel are the Miner, which you want to get on tower, and the Barbarians, which of course get hurt by that splash damage.
Yep. 447 HP on the bottom right. Miner in on the tower again. This should bring it very close to poison range.
Still just outside of poison range, and unless that last card is another spell, which I don't believe it is, there's going to be no way for Sergio Ramos to spell out without going double poison.
Yeah, Sergio here playing so very well. Wow, Miner comes in to catch that bandit. Needed to catch the bandit. And Dark Angel has Sergio gets the rope. Look at the bottom left-hand side. Mega Knight needs to come down. There it is.
Just in time, Mega Knight. Although, again, now Dark Angel low on Elixir. Baby Dragon gets on tower. Ewiz comes in. Now that's poisonable. We hit 4. Poison comes down. Ooh. That's going to be it. Sergio Ramos, welcome to the winner's circle.
And now Kuchiku comes in to go up against Sergio Ramos, who finally has his first W under his belt in head-to-head play. Kuchiku, on the other hand, has 5 wins in King of the Hill.
It's been a nice switch for Kuchiku, getting out of the 2v2 set and into the King of the Hill more, into the head-to-head play more. He seems more comfortable right now. Just he and Benny, who didn't quite have the rhythm that they had last season.
Yeah, and that's the important thing to recognize behind Team Queso's coaching staff, is that they are always willing to change things up. And now Azelis, someone who used to be a head-to-head player solely, it felt like, has now found his really a perfect place for him in 2v2.
Yeah, 6 wins, no losses, and a draw. That's not too bad.
Yeah, last season, you know, he was 1-2 in 2v2 games and sets. So it's one of those things where last season, like you said, Benny and Kuchi had it. This season, they don't seem to be on the same page, so Azelis stepped in.
And Ram Rider right into a pack of Barbarians. Oh, brutal.
Yeah, Kuchi going to have to figure out a way to get those Barbarians out of cycle, or at least take advantage of a dual lane pressure, because Sergio probably smart enough now to not ever play his Barbarians unless that Ram Rider comes down.
And Sergio now going back to that Miner deck.
And the last time Sergio played this, the It card was that Flying Machine. He was just everywhere with it.
He did a great job of protecting the Flying Machine, keeping it on the board for a long time, and now you see getting the Ewiz high, getting that Balboa off the board, and here we go. We didn't see the Lava Hound last game. You know, I'm wondering if this is the same deck, if this is still if we're to see the Miner come through.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the same composition so far, and you see Kuchi doing the correct thing here, going P.E.K.K.A in the opposite lane. Try to keep some of the Elixir focused on defense, not just all on a cascading downhill push behind that Lava Hound, because, you know, Lava Hound by itself isn't the most threatening card in the game. Kuchi gonna probably play a Snowball to take care of that, but now has to spend a lot more with that Miner coming in.
Miner and the Barbarian Barrel to help out as well with the tankage, but Barbarian Barrel in response by Kuchiku. Still a lot of damage on that left-hand lane.
And you saw, I believe the Ram Rider did connect on the right-hand side, but still above 2,000 HP is Sergio Ramos' right-hand tower.
And Kuchi getting very aggressive here in double Elixir time, just dropping P.E.K.K.A right at the bridge, Ram Rider behind.
I was going to say the Barbarians have to be coming down to surround that P.E.K.K.A and assist with the Ram Rider. Snowball comes in to allow another Ram Rider hit in, but still about 500 HP away from catching up to Sergio.
And Ramos does have damage in both lanes at the moment, so benefiting from that as well. But Kuchiku just trying to keep the Lava Hound off the board as long as possible right now.
Yeah, really trying to keep the pressure up. P.E.K.K.A will go through and take care of every one of those barbs in a swing, and that Baby Dragon will get on tower.
That's a couple big belches in the Baby Dragon. P.E.K.K.A's not going to make, but now lavaing up is Sergio Ramos. Lava to the inside, not too worried about getting pulled there, of course. No buildings in play.
And you see here Kuchi having a hard time figuring out how to get to that Flying Machine. Sergio doing such a good job protecting it, and that will do it. Sergio Ramos, once again, the master with the Flying Machine. Kuchi knows it got away from him. Very, very well played by Sergio Ramos.
So Sergio Ramos now 1 game away from a clean sweep of King of the Hill. But coming up next for Team Queso, it's Benny, who currently sitting at 5-3 in this set.
Yeah, you saw the first 3 game victories going to Team Queso and what looked like would be a quick and clean sweep. Sergio Ramos now in the way, and as you said, about to pull off the reverse sweep here in King of the Hill.
So looking a lot like Benny, who running the Minor Prince Spear Gobs deck, which still, even with its... Oh, here we go. Never mind. Looking like Mortar Minor then.
Yep. Bandit comes down. Prince goes opposite lane, knowing that the Bandit is a great counter. Those bats should take out the Bandit before it gets a dash. Very well played by Benihoo.
And last second pickup of the Prince with the Battle Ram.
Spear Goblins coming down, mitigate this damage. Minion Horde in. You may see a poison here. Nope, we're gonna go Snowball instead.
That's a lot of value for
Yes.
2 Elixir.
Yeah, the naked Minion Horde at the river is a very gutsy play and a very expensive play.
And this is a nice sequence defensively for Sergio Ramos, picking up the Mortar aggro and then dropping the Musketeer in a position to both support and pick up the next Mortar shot.
Yeah, and I did really like the placement of the Goblin Gang from Benihoo, being out of range of the Musketeer so it could tank for the Prince. But both these guys, I mean, if you look at the towers, it tells the whole story itself. Playing lights out.
About to head to double Elixir time, and no one has drawn blood yet. Remember, we are in a lowest single tower, although if we do go all the way with no one hitting a tower at all.
Wow, very, very nice fireball, but then in turn, an even better miner to pick up the dash from the Bandit, demanding a huge response out of Sergio Ramos, and the Prince still gets his stab in with the Lance. So great plays on both sides of the board. Sergio comes out on top, but I think the heads-up play award goes to Benihoo.
Yeah, very, very nice work by Benihoo. I was saying, I don't think anyone will ever see a situation where no one touches the tower at all because of spells, obviously. But I do wonder if there's anything in the rules to address a completely no one gets touched situation.
Yeah, a flawless victory, if you will. Pull that from our good friend Shang Tsung. He's not our friend.
He's no one's friend, except for his own.
And Prince Goro.
Prince pops the Musketeer. That tower down to 1683 left-hand lane. 10 seconds left till we head into sudden death overtime.
And despite having a miner in hand, Benihoo not able to get into the tower that often. You see right now the high Musketeer play to distract that Mortar, and Benihoo does need to, there's the Prince coming down.
Miner to the back, Prince comes in, and Prince does
go.
not get all the pickup that it wanted, so
Ooh.
very unfortunate placement there for Ramos.
However, the range of the Lance on the Prince keeps the Spear Goblins from being able to focus on the tower, so that really went Benihoo's way.
And Benihoo just continuously able to have answers now on this defensive side of the board, and he's now built up a fairly significant Elixir lead.
Miner to the back again to cast the Prince. And a big push coming down the right-hand lane. He misses the Prince with the snowball.
And the Prince barely gets caught by the Goblin Gang.
Whew, that is cutting it close. Miner to the Musketeer. Nope, gonna go to the back.
Bandit to pick up the Miner, the Ice Golem in front to stop the minions from getting to tower. Still eats a shot down to 12:27. Now we're in the final 2 minutes of overtime, and Sergio Ramos in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah, Benihoo kind of starting to pull away, having so many responses to this deck that Sergio's running. Great use of the gang to stop the charge.
And Fireball really only gets a little bit of value, does not quite get that full minion horde push, maybe trying to do too much with it with Sergio Ramos.
Gotta imagine a Miner's gonna go in now to the front this time, allowing the Spear Goblin to get on tower.
And the Bandit forced to come down just in time. I do love that change in placement by Benihoo on the Miner.
Yeah, that shorter distance time allowed it to get in front of the Spear Goblins and get just a bit of tankage in. Mechanically, just perfect from Benihoo.
And it seems that Sergio Ramos is kind of stuck in a mode here on this right-hand lane, playing defense, keeping his counters on this side, and not pressuring the opposite lane where he does have a significant amount of damage.
I was just going to say, sometimes you find yourself in a game where you're just going down the same lane over and over and over, kind of running into a wall, and you forget there's a whole nother half of the map that I can pay attention to, even if just to create a little bit of pressure, as you just said, but not happening for Sergio Ramos.
Well, that's the side of the map where he does have the damage lead as well. So, you gotta wonder here, this push could turn into something, but with all the small troops, being able to stack them on one side, maybe he's thinking, hey, I can get more spell value if they're all together. But it's just cascading. It's, okay, Goblin Gang, take care of that. Bats, take care of that.
And now he's gonna do it with 17 seconds left. A Goblin Gang, exactly. A Goblin Gang will come down, completely mitigate that Prince for a +2 trade, and the Prince gets on the tower in the right-hand lane.
There you go. Yeah, that's going to be it. Very well played, Benihoo. Good games from both sides of the board. Benihoo comes in and saves his squad for one more game. So it all comes down to this. Can Benihoo close things out for Team Queso, or will Morten send us to the 1v1 set?
Yep, and if he is hot, if he is playing well, will he show up in that 1v1 set? Benihoo's starting off with some Spear Goblins. Morten sends in a cheeky little zap.
So looking pretty spammy for Morten. And Benihoo playing either Mortar Bait or Miner Control. Mortar Bait.
Yep, going right back to it.
Dark Prince, wow.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that E-Wiz. Dark Prince would have taken care of it on its own. Now that E-Wiz is not there for support.
And all those troops running right into the minion horde as well.
Zap back in cycle. Very good value there from Morten, evening up Elixir.
Yeah, even up Elixir, but eating a couple of shots. And, he threw a lot directly into a minion horde that he didn't have an answer for in that moment.
And Benihoo's staying aggressive.
It's got to be the timing of Benihoo putting down that minion horde, knowing the battle ram was probably coming, knowing that Poison wouldn't really be able to take care of things in time. So far, Benihoo one step ahead of the German.
Mortar comes down to meet that battle ram. Also gonna, I was gonna say get a shot in on the E-Wiz if it does stay alive.
And Morten P.E.K.K.A.'s all the way in the back.
See the Spear Goblins played high to assist with the barbs, but also in turn come and get some tower damage. I really, really like that.
Just opportunistic play so far from Benihoo.
And there's the Zap E-Wiz combo that we knew was going to happen at some point. And that Goblin Gang is eaten up by the Dark Prince. Benihoo in a bit of trouble. In a lot of trouble.
Bandit gets on tower. Dark Prince getting splash damage as well. E-Wiz doing work down to 14-14. Morten has roared back into this game.
And that is why the beginning of this game is so important for Benihoo to get that chip damage in. You see now he's only at a 25 HP deficit.
And there we go. That time the Poison gets down, takes care of the minion horde. So after getting caught by the horde early on, oh my gosh, big escape here down to 823. Morten does it.
Wow, really great mechanics from Morten, but also some big misplays from Benihoo. Benihoo kept sending his Goblin Gang into the Dark Prince. Now I recognize Prince is out of cycle. He doesn't really have many other options other than maybe a defensive miner would have been a better way, but sending those goblins into that Dark Prince is a waste of elixir every single time, and Morten saw it happen over and over and kept punishing.
So here we go, third and final set. So heading into the third and final set, it's all on the line for two teams that really, really need a win today, Andrew.
Yeah, and there's 4 players available. You got Kuchi or Dark Angel from Queso, and then, of course, Morten or Sam from SK. And in my mind, you got to stick with Morten. He just played great in that King of the Hill, and we all know how important confidence is moving forward into that third set.
And then it's an interesting question on the other side. Do you go with Kuchiku or Dark Angel? Dark Angel got a win today. Kuchiku struggled a bit. Oh, here we go. It is. Yep. They are going with the experience of Kuchiku, who does currently have the best head-to-head record for Team Queso.
Yeah, and as we just said, Morten riding the confidence from that King of the Hill victory, pushing this to set number 3. And Kuchiku, the experienced player, a ton of live experience, gives him a lot of comfortability moving into this very, very important set.
Best of 3 for all the marbles. Maybe best of 4, who knows?
Yep, that is a possibility.
Someone does play conservative.
And that is going to be Morten on top of your screen, Kuchiku on the bottom for the first game of our final set here in the second match of the day.
Morten playing on the iPad, Kuchi playing on the phone. It's always interesting to see who chooses what device. I prefer my iPad, Andrew, but it's old, so it's a little buggy compared to my newer phone.
It's like princes are going to meet on Kuchi's side of the river.
So Morten going back to the same bridge spam variant that worked out so well for him in that Game 5. Morten so tall, not really able to lean on the podium the same way Kuchiku can.
Get him his podium a booster seat. Minions on top of that Musketeer, going to come in and try to take out the Tombstone as well.
So first 90 seconds away, and not much has been dealt so far. Just feeling each other out, taking some jabs.
Neither player really committing to a lane yet. And a Musketeer off to the left a bit, allowing that Bandit dash in. A little surprise there that Kuchi decided to go for that. I think that could have been a misclick on the Musketeer, just one tile to the left.
And that Battle Ram sliding on through, Log Dark Prince able to pick it up.
Tombstone just in range to pull the Prince, but it will require the Ice Golem to come down and kite it opposite. But that puts the Bandit in range for another dash.
And there you go, big connection for Morten. And that's just a couple of slight things that have slipped through the defenses of Kuchiku.
Bandit once again just dashing all over the place. A lot on this side. Bandit will get on tower, as does one Barb hit.
So Kuchi finally gets even. Graveyard does come down. Poison in cycle to help clean up the defense.
However, nothing there to tank for the Skellies. Getting a couple hits in still at the end. Very close to being able to even this game up.
Very successful Graveyard poison push.
You see Kuchi with a 2 elixir lead right now. Or Morten, excuse me, over Kuchi.
So Morten wanting that Prince to meet the Musketeer before she crosses. Disrupt the idea of that Graveyard Muskie push where the Graveyard actually tanks for the Muskie as opposed to the opposite way around.
And a very nice high Tombstone, but it does not actually pull the Prince over. Prince gets 3 big lance stabs in.
So here we are, about a minute into sudden death overtime, and Morten playing very well, solid pressure on both sides, but as everybody knows, a Graveyard deck can change your fate in just a matter of seconds.
Bandit dashes in to catch that Ice Golem. This would be a nice positive elixir trade here for Kuchi.
That's a nice exchange for Kuchi on the right-hand lane, able to keep his Musketeer alive, wipe that one completely off the board.
Minions played up high to meet that Mega Minion. Will take it out of play. Oh, and one minion sneaks behind the battle ramp.
And we get a connection here as well. Fireball comes in. This is a big moment for Morten.
Very, very nice connection there from the battle ram. Little support from that minion Fireball to top it all off. Below 1k HP on the left-hand side.
And the poison comes in just a little bit later than Kuchiku would have liked because of what he had to deal with defensively.
But look at that, 1076 with the log will bring it down below 1,000 HP.
So Morten still playing both lanes. Bandit Dash takes the Prince shield off. Oh, and the Prince escapes.
Yeah, and this is what Morten needs to get back to doing, is keeping up a ton of dual lane pressure, hoping that Kuchiku makes a mechanical mistake in the sense of defending efficiently, because that is when bridge spam really, really punishes you, and that's what Morten was doing early on.
Yeah, Ice Golem gets down, pulls the Prince, but again, you know, one small error when you're against a bridge spam deck can be so frustrating.
Yeah, and this will be the last push. Only 10 seconds left of regulation. We will have a draw here in game number 1.
Fireball comes in just to punctuate the point, but that is it. Game number 1, all evens. So all even first time out. Let's run it back. What kind of adjustments might these two players make?
Both of them playing, honestly, not that conservatively in game number 1. It was just such good defense from both of them. A couple big haymakers thrown at certain points of the match, or different points of the match, I should say, from Morten and Kuchiku alike, but no one able to really separate themselves.
Shield goes down. Dark Prince wins the first exchange.
And will demand a response out of Morten, but he's at full elixir, so gonna happen anyway.
So Morten gets picked up easily there. Prince knows where that miner's going.
And the E-Wiz dropped down to stop the charge. Very nicely played.
First minute away. Things still fairly even, as often.
Nice high defensive miner there. We'll get one shovel hit on Morten's right-hand tower. Got double Princes and a miner at the bottom of your screen, at the top of your screen.
Yeah, with
probably
the
going to see some control going on.
Well, with the E-Wiz and Zap, you start thinking that Kuchiku is running Giant double Prince, but it's interesting that we haven't seen the Giant yet.
The Zap and Princes, you mean?
Sorry, with the Zap and the Princes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, E was in the hand of Morten once again coming down. Giant played by Kuchi. And there's our Inferno Tower. Zap should be back in cycle to stun that tower. And then
no Zap at the moment.
To ignore it. Goes for the Spear Goblins instead.
Well, he is. You can see Kuchi is very low on Elixir right now, so maybe just wasn't able to get it out in time.
Yeah.
So, final minute.
Miner to the back. Does get on tower. Prince there to meet.
The question now is, does Kuchiku start loading up in one lane, or does he force Morten to spread himself out a little bit?
I mean, with this deck specifically, it's nice to start and create a big push in one lane, and then if you have whichever Prince is involved in your big push, if you can, send the other one down the opposite lane if you feel your opponent is spread thin. However, right now, Morten is playing very, very good defense. I don't think Kuchi wants to commit too much elixir or spread too much elixir over the board.
So, entering into sudden death overtime, Kuchiku slightly ahead. has not found a way to break through heavy yet, but now in a much better position with his Elixir.
Miner comes in to tank for the, I guess, for the Giant. Zap came down on top of the Bats, however, now allowing Spear Goblins and the Inferno Tower to wreak havoc.
Yeah, the Bats and Spear Goblins both forcing Kuchiku to make choices with that Zap, really giving that Inferno Tower more room to breathe.
Yeah.
Or room to burn, as you might say.
There it is. Miner to the back, knowing that Morten, knowing that you do not want to send your Miner right into an Inferno Tower, picks up the Miner beautifully with his Prince.
And that placement in that third tile, or in that high tile on the right-hand side, lets him pick up the Miner to the back, but also makes it so that he's not too far away to contend with a Miner to the front.
Miner to the front now by Morten. Going to be kind of ignored by Kuchi. And with 1 minute and 40 seconds left, you got to wonder if we're going to be seeing another draw.
Double draw, completely possible.
And that is a decent amount.
Whoa.
Both Princes on the tower. Fireball comes in to catch the Ewiz. Mega Minion on the tower. That is huge.
Yep, that's it. That is it. Kuchiku does a great job in game number 2. Morten's defense was pretty much picture perfect. All that Miner doing quite a bit here.
Yeah, water shaping mountains, honestly. The slow burn from Kuchiku just ended up overwhelming Morten there at the very end. And now Morten is in a very, very dangerous position with 1 minute left. Fireball comes in, Miner on the
There
front.
you go.
That will do it.
Zap down. Kuchiku takes game number 2 despite the very good defense from Morten. He just couldn't keep up over time.
Kuchi takes game number 2.
So Kuchi currently in control, game in hand. A draw here would send us to a game 4. A win for Morten would send us to a game 4. But Kuchi now with 2-game cushion. Morten, though, not quite the same.
Yeah, Morten in a position to essentially play for a draw, play a very safe deck if he'd like to. Kuchi really wanting to shut the door on SK. They cannot seem to get away from them in that King of the Hill set. It looked like it'd be early victories for Team Queso. Sergio Ramos had a lot to say about that, and now we find ourselves in this 1v1 set. Obviously, Morten closing out that King of the Hill.
So Mortar, or probably Mortar Bait, or some sort of Miner control deck. Most likely Mortar Bait up against probably Goblin Giant Sparky.
Yeah, the Goblin Giant Sparky deck has been so good. And it's a high skill cap deck. It's not an easy deck to dominate with. Now the pros make it look very easy with the way that they time their Goblin Giants and their Sparkies and the way that they can play their Elixirs so conservatively, efficiently, but much harder to actually execute.
So Miner on the tower. Morten not too worried about those drops. Sparky does come down. Kuchiku splitting Rascals to the opposite lane. One Rascal girl, she can always absorb a Sparky shot if need be, and then now you're pressuring opposite side.
Yeah, and then he's got the Goblin Gang to surround. Minion Horde does come down. That should be just enough defense. And a big counter push here coming with the support of the Miner as a tank. Nice Hunter played up high. That is the best way to mitigate the most damage. Obviously, the Miner's left alone, but those Spear Goblins and the Minion Horde would have been devastating.
Yeah, you gotta make a choice there. Morten made the right choice. Pretty clean play from both so far, but Kuchiku in a solid lead left-hand lane.
Yep. Ooh, that is gonna be a very interesting Sparky. Yeah, it does not hit the other Rascal girl, so Kuchiku kind of getting away with one there.
And there you go, Miner to the back one more time.
Just a second late to tank for that Spear Goblin, but definitely gonna get some damage in.
And so now Morten, Goblin Giants all the way behind. And now defensive mortar, way out of range of any Sparky problems.
You see Kuchi going all in on defense. This is a mistake a lot of people make against the Sparky Goblin Giant deck, is they do not commit enough to defense, trying to create counter lane pressure, but then all of a sudden they don't have enough to deal with the Sparky. So now that his defense has been played, he goes opposite lane, cleaned up very well with that bar barrel.
There, but you see that? Morten gets back around to another Goblin Giant, so that was the idea, getting the Goblin Giant down beforehand, then Sparky late, so this is a good situation.
Bad. That was the opposite order that he wanted those units to come down. He wanted the Sparky shot to go to the bar barrel, not the Goblins, and Morten takes game number 2 from Kuchi.
Game
number three.
We're going to a game 4 now.
Very well played by Morten. We're going to our final game.
So in a game that has been, or a match that's been back and forth, we went 3 games with an opening draw in 2v2, 5 full games in King of the Hill. Wrapping up our day, our 5-match day, of course, we're going to game number 4 in the 1v1.
What better way to end this Sunday than a full slate? Going the distance, I believe is the term.
It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And we've gone a full 26.2 today.
Ugh, that sounds horrible.
I don't understand it. It seems like an insane thing to do to me.
Bandit will demand a response. Minions come down. And a nice poison there from Morten.
So first minute away and Battle Ram down. Looks like both players going with similar ideas.
He was not able to take out the entirety of that small little minion pack, but Prince comes down to help out.
Easy kite. So here we go, reaching the midway point of regulation.
See about a 2 elixir lead from Kuchiku.
We will have a decision at the end of this game, no matter what. No more little dots to be filled.
Battle Ram going to come down. That Musketeer will lock on. And that Prince should be adequate enough, but Kuchi not wanting to take any risks. Now, in turn, has created actually a big counter push with the Ice Golem in front.
Nice timing on the zap to reset there from Morten.
Yeah, very nice timing. Some people maybe would have zapped the Battle Ram, worried that it would have connected, but that was just picture-perfect defense. Morten does get 1 minion on the tower.
And that one-shot Bandit does enough to keep the E-Wiz from getting even a single hit on the right-hand lane.
See here, Kuchi not willing to take any chances, no more damage on his towers. He knows this is lowest single tower, and he knows that Queso feels like they should have run away with this numerous times before, but SK just will not go quietly into the night.
Morten and Kuchi both playing very well. They both had their moments today. And now Morten's turn to load up in the left-hand lane.
Great poison coming down.
And so far, it's been Morten the only one getting poison value, and in a situation where we are in lowest single tower, getting that spell value early could be all the difference.
Prince comes down to make sure that does not connect. A very, very close Battle Ram. And a beautiful kite.
And Morten waiting just a half step there to make sure he makes the right choice. And there he goes, poisoning the Musketeer and tower. E-Wiz does not keep the Musketeer in there for that final tick, though.
Yeah. And now the Musketeer supported. Oh, zap. That was a great zap. P.E.K.K.A finally coming down for Morten. And now you see The minions will not, and Bandit has to come down to catch the Bandit charge there, but we got a healthy group of minions and Bandit going down the left-hand lane.
This is going to be really, really hard for Kuchi to get back into this game.
Yeah.
Just there's so many defensive options, and the Battle Ram connection, that's a big one.
That is huge.
Kuchi playing from behind. Morten has the better defensive options between the Dark Prince, who can always pick up the Prince with that shield, and then the P.E.K.K.A picking up the Battle Ram. But most importantly out of all of that is the lead that Morten has established already. A big part of that being getting the poison value.
Yeah, the poison value and the patience here of holding his P.E.K.K.A to play as the last card deep into overtime. Now, you see he's kind of overwhelming his opponent. Poison comes down, Battle Ram connects, and that is most likely going to do it. Unless KuChiKu puts together an insane push that Morten somehow fails hard on defense, then there's just almost no way for him to get enough damage in.
Yeah, and unless there was some way for KuChiKu to sneak through on that specific push at this final minute, it really feels like Morten has this thing sewn up. It's a challenging matchup for KuChiKu, but also just very, very well played by the German.
Yeah, and you see a desperation Ice Golem coming down to try to tank for those units, but it comes down behind, so it ends up being a waste of 2 Elixir from Kuchi. 50 seconds left to play.
And nice job with the Battle Ram to prevent the Bandit from taking the shield off the Dark Prince. That was really excellent management.
Ooh, and almost a connection on the right-hand side, but that P.E.K.K.A comes down just in time. And now an SK team that looked like after the first 3 wins going to Team Queso, obviously the draw to start off the day, but then 2 2v2 victories, a King of the Hill victory, all going Queso's way. It felt like the door was being shut on SK in the second set.
This has gotta feel really great for SK Gaming. And it all started, of course, with the turnaround by Sergio Ramos in King of the Hill to put his squad back in it. Morten comes in, cleans things up in game number 5, comes here, comes from behind in 1v1, and gets SK a big, important victory. You see sighs of relief, smiles on the faces of the guys in gray. This was a big one today.
SK needed that victory so very badly. It's starting to feel like Queso may not be in our top 6. Now, it's still too early to decipher or determine that, but SK Gaming, a big, big victory today. 2-2 is a great place to be this far into the season.
So we're going to talk with our winners here, but first let's go to today's results and opening things up. It was the win by Pain Gaming over Team Liquid with that fantastic performance by Wen.
Yeah, unbelievable. Pain moving into first. After that, you have Complexity sweeping Korean Esports to take second place. Fnatic sweeping Energy to take third place. At the bottom here, we have Misfits and Dignitas. Dignitas takes the edge over Misfits 2-1. And to close out our day, SK dominates Team Queso.
So there you have it. 10 teams came in with high hopes today. 5 left ejected, 5 left pumped up on the day. And we are joined by Morten, who finished off with a bang. Morten, your season started off a little bit rocky. This map started off rocky.
Yep.
How did you guys adjust to get back in this one and prepare for today?
I think the last games we didn't prepare that well. Like against Fnatic, we didn't play like good at all, I think. We changed it to 2v2, we put like Sergio and Soaking in. Even if it didn't work out, like we had different options for 1v1, like Sam and me could play. So I think like it worked out pretty well, even if we lost the 2v2.
Yeah, it definitely worked out very well for you. You know, King of the Hill is a place where you've struggled a little bit this season and last season, even though your 1v1 set record was amazing last year. What is it about that set that kind of gets to you mentally, and how did you kind of overcome it today?
I think it's a big difference between 1v1 and King of the Hill. It's like the best of 3 sets. Even if you lose the first one, like you can still come back. And the King of the Hill is like just one game. You have to prepare for one opponent, and if you have like a bad matchup, you already lost. So I prepared like different, like prepared more decks against like specific players, and so I think it worked pretty well.
You opened up with the draw and then had the loss in game number 2 in that final set.
Yep.
And then back-to-back wins. There was, of course, the Goblin Giant Sparky play that was fantastic. And then the final match, both of those games, your management of the micro was amazing. For example, the blocking the Dark Prince shield, saving that with the Battle Ram. What's the thought process behind saving that shield in that moment?
I think like Dark Prince is a pretty strong card right now after the buff. And like, if it's behind the Battle Ram, it's like pretty fast. And most of the times they play like a bandit next to your tower, and then with the the movement speed from the Dark Prince that goes to the tower, and like with the splash damage it hits the tower, so I think it's pretty important.
So last question as we're about to close this out. You are an OG of SK. How do you like your new squad?
I think it's like different from last season. We have like new teammates for sure, but like I already know Sam like for months, and Sergio and Sogen are pretty nice guys, and like we need time to find together, but I think it works pretty well.
Great. Thank you a lot, Morten. Your winners, SK Gaming. Let's head into our standings after our crazy, wild 5-match day. And Andrew, let's take a look at how today's results have affected our standings heading into the midway point of our season.
Yeah, a lot of shifts happening. Pain Gaming 5-1 in first, Complexity 4-1 in second, Fnatic now 4-2 into the third place spot. Immortals 3-2 in fourth, Tribe Gaming even at 3 in their fifth place position. Getting to the middle of the charts here, the middle of the standings as we get to the middle of the season, we've got Cream Esports also at 3-3 in sixth. SK Gaming evening up their score to 2-2. Team Liquid right behind them in 8th place at 2-3. Team Queso 2-4. And at the very bottom of the charts, we've got Dignitas coming out of last place, going into 2-4 in 10th. Energy 1-3. Misfits 1-4 in 12th place. They've got a lot of work to do in the coming weeks.
So if this is your first day with us, of course, you can be back here with us all the time, Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. on the East. Saturdays and Sundays, 10 a.m. on the West, 1 p.m. on the East. We will see you this weekend. I just saw another baby dragon. Bye.